Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting into the tech world. This is the first time I've ever used AirPods on a computer Zoom.
It works pretty well. I've got mine. I got mine on. Yeah, it's a good little tool. And everybody around you doesn't have to hear you and everybody talk, so.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. I don't really have any questions. I just want to make sure everyone wasn't jumping on and I was having a 1990s moment with technology. But
all good, man.
Thanks for all the help. Thanks for all the help this week.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I guess the one thing I wanted to just confirm was, so you got the whole the ritual thing we're trying to build in, trying to say it wisdom drop, crowdsourcing wisdom. All right, cool. I know it's a little cheesy, but if we do it, then the guys will start to know it,
Yeah. Yeah, no.
So I'm gonna mention it. I'm gonna mention it probably a lot more than hopefully I have to in the future. But
okay.
Yeah, if you can too, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure thing.
And then you'll be sharing your story and your one sheet very briefly before we get into Luke's thing, right? You'll be quick story and okay, right on.
Yeah, I've got a real quick down and dirty on me. What's up, Brian?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Great. How about you?
Very good, thanks.
Nice.
Cool, man.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty good.
Andy, I've got the updated GoBro contacts and tools thing. It's just where we keep the request opportunity exercise notes. Do you have that? I'm going to share that with you so you can have it, and we can just both kind of tag team it while it's going on in the very beginning.
When do you want to do that? Because we've got the opening wins and challenges.
That's
do it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, during the wins and challenges, when people share their opportunity, that's when we'll put down what their 1 to 10 rating is for the request or the opportunity, and we'll write down what that request or the opportunity is, and then if there's anything that the guys initially say, oh, I can help you with that, let me help, just let's connect afterwards, we can write that down too.
Okay, yeah, if you could give me a little hand with that, that'd be great.
I will. Yeah, we'll do it together. We'll just kind of because sometimes one of us is involved in the conversation or something.
Yep.
The other person just kind of pick it up. So here, let me. I'm gonna text it to you, but also I'm gonna Slack it to you, also.
Okay.
Just so it hits, because my text has been a little weird from my computer recently. I think I need to update it. All right, so here comes the doc. If you open that up, you'll see it's a tab that says.
Are you emailing? I got the text, so I was gonna send that to my own email.
Yeah, so just open that. Just click that link. It'll open up a Google Sheet, and then you want to be on the March check-in tab.
Okay, yeah, hold on. That's sent to my phone. So let me send that to my my email right quick.
All right. Yeah, man. Otherwise, you feeling good about this?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sitting mute because I got to sneeze. I don't want to blow out your eardrums.
As a monster like you would. Well, boom.
Dude, my assistant and brother make fun of me. They said I'm the hardest sneezer they know.
Do you just do one, or are you one of those people that sneezes 5 times in a row?
One.
But one huge.
Yeah.
Old Faithful over here. Boom.
Oh shit.
It's funny. Cool. Let's see. Well, actually, I'm curious how many guys have RSVP'd for this.
Charlie, the other thing that I needed help on, if you could just take this, was actually if you want to introduce anybody for guys that aren't familiar with the format, we can just kind of hand it off to them after everybody goes around. But I don't know who's joined recently.
So we're going to have Bo Parfit, who's joining from, he lives here in Boulder and also in Florida.
Looks like he just joined too.
Oh, he did? Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's going to, oh, hey, what's up, Bo? How are you? Oh, is that Bo?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Oh, here.
All right. Oh, I see Chuck's on too. Hey, nice to see you, Bo. Thanks for making it on, man.
Sure.
And we got Zach just joined in. Hey, Chuck, how's it going? You're on mute.
I'm good,
Okay, there you
man.
go.
Thanks.
Hey, yeah. Who else we have on? We got Zach. Looks like Travis is jumping on. Cool. Bo, where are you right now?
I'm kind of leading a conference here for DLP in St. Simons Island, Georgia.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm kind of the MC a little bit of our great conference. So St. Simons Island, Georgia. We're really close to the Florida border if anyone's ever been here.
Okay. I've been to the Florida-Alabama border. There's a bar literally right on the line called the Floribama, which is a total dive. I don't necessarily recommend it, but I've made my way through there on a road trip.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Ian, how's it going? Adam, what's up, man? Glad you made it.
Dudes.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, buddy. So you crushing Silverton?
Yeah, crushed Silverton. We crushed it so hard yesterday, and
Awesome.
so we took a few laps today. A couple of big boys, about just this one single to an hour hike.
Yep.
And wanted to make sure I get back to hang out with you fine folk, and then
Good, man.
I'll be back to hit it tomorrow with a heli drop. Woo, woo.
Boom. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you're gonna hit the heli. That's sick.
Yeah, hit the heli tomorrow.
Right on. Yeah, good to have you, man. So let's see. We got looks like there's about 9 of us on right now. We're waiting for it looks like about 6 more. So we'll just hey Andy, you good hanging for like 5 more minutes or 4 more minutes?
Of course.
Okay. Ian, how you been, man?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Who's Travis's chair is dominating. What's going on? Where's Trav? Oh man, that's funny. I don't think I've ever been to Travis's house. I have no idea where that is.
Islands.
Oh, he's over in the Highlands. Okay. Mike Hartwell's joining. Hey, Mike. I don't know if you can hear us yet.
Yeah, I got you there.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. See if I get the video going here. There we go.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. We're gonna get started in just a couple minutes. We're just waiting for a couple other guys to join on. Oh, there's Mike McCarthy. What's up, buddy? You're back in Austin?
Yep. What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Oh,
I'm only going to be able to be on for a half hour. I've got a board meeting at 3:30 that was already scheduled, so I'll be with you for only a short amount of time. I might be able to get on after that too.
Cool, man. Yeah, good to have you for as long as you can. Trying to find my. There we go.
Adam, did you just wake up, bud?
No, I just took my helmet off skiing. Yeah.
Nice.
What we call some ski hair.
Yeah, buddy.
Don't be jealous.
Got that rooster look.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Rosignol. All right. Well, I know that we're waiting. I know we're going to have Mike Del Sesto's joining for sure. I know we're going to have John Samuelson joining, but he's going to have to be a little quiet because he's doing some child pickup and delivery stuff. And then, yeah, maybe a couple other guys jumping on. So we'll just get started. And hopefully those guys get in soon. But we got a lot today. Hey, Andy, what time is Luke joining? Is he coming right on at 4 or right at 3? I mean,
Yeah, he's gonna
Okay.
start talking at 3.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't hear from anybody, but does anybody have any guests they're expecting today? Is anybody joining that's going to be a guest that's not, an elite? I don't see anyone, so I'm just double checking.
Yeah, maybe we should rename that because when you said guests, I'm hosting, so I thought guest speaker. So maybe other people thought guest speaker.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'll clarify that next time.
Cool.
Nobody reached
Well,
out, so I imagine we're good.
Cool. You
Hey,
want to
what's
get
up,
started then?
Yeah, let's get going. What's up, Andrew? All right, guys. Good to see you all. Thank you for making it. Hopefully sooner rather than later, we're going to be in person with vaccines going out and such, and herd immunity starting to get reached. But, you know, this hopefully is one of the last virtuals that we do. Oh, looks like John needs a link. Let me just make sure he gets in here. One sec, guys. Invite guest. Copy invite link. Boom. All right. There's John. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be going back to in person really soon. But in the meantime, again, thanks everybody for making this happen, especially some of the newer guys who are starting to get into the flow of GoBundance. You know, Bo and Chuck, I know there's a lot to this, getting ramped up with this stuff. So appreciate you guys jumping in fairly last minute into the mastermind. And thank you for, thank you for being here and joining. Just big welcome to you guys. And we'll get to know you guys definitely over the next, months and years, but we'll do a little intro in a sec. Travis, what's up, man? Good to see you, buddy. And John is in too. So let's get it going. So guys, age defying health. I've been thinking a lot about the different pillar focuses we've had each month. And, since we're all kind of still new to each other and some of us are brand new to GoBundance, and I'm still fairly new to GoBundance, it's only been a year and a half. You could spend a lifetime exploring one of these topics, really. Like each of these pillars could be its own focus of a life, right? And we have 6 of them. So, you can only go so deep and you can only know so much about these. And so I've been really thinking about them intentionally and I've liked having the pillar focus each month because we get a chance to sort of look at it a little more closely. And thinking about age defying health, I think we all have maybe a little bit of a different definition of this. But today, the intention for this mastermind is to dive a little bit more deeply, maybe come up with some definitions that we share for age defying health and begin to unlock this idea so that we can really implement, what we can really optimize this in our lives. Like age defying health to me means, it means health that gives me more longevity. It means, a more youthful appearance or a youthful mind, as I age. And I'm sure everybody has a little bit of a different way of looking at it. I think when I was thinking about our actual tribe and age defying health, I definitely think that as a group, we all have an interest in this, obviously, but I think there's some guys that have really taken an intentional look at it in their lives and really focus on it maybe more than some of the others. I haven't really so much until maybe just in the last couple of years. But when I think of age defying health, really the guys that come to my mind in our tribe are, and I don't mean to embarrass you guys, but certainly Andy, you're the guy that's going to be, carrying this conversation forward today. You're out there crushing, high intensity exercise and, really, I think like a good example of a level of health and a level of physicality that you have that really stood out was when we went down to that West Cliff cabin and Adam and I took you touring, and it was your first time ever on touring equipment. And if you guys know what ski touring is, it's a pretty intense, fairly energetic experience where you have to get your gear on, skis on, and you track uphill thousands of feet and over the course of many miles. And Andy had never done it before, and he'd never used the equipment before. And the guy was literally right with us the whole time without even, losing his breath at all. And it was just like, man, this guy is in a very high level of physical fitness to be able to do something like that, where Adam and I had already been training all season and could keep up. So, I think Andy's a great guy to lead this. Other guys that really come to my mind, Travis, not to embarrass you, man, but you're like the youngest looking guy, I think, in the tribe. And you're also 42. You got that baby face, you're freaking ripped, man. Like it's, from a physical perspective, I think that's kind of what a lot of age defying health immediately came to my mind. I was like, it's looking younger than you actually are and having a body that supports maybe a lifestyle of activity. But when I started thinking more about it, and I'm going to stop, yapping in a second, but when I started thinking more about it, I was like, man, it's also more than physical health. I think a lot of it's mental health. And when I was living in Boston, I'd go jogging at lunch during the day, and there was always this guy that was at the workout area that I'd jog to and do some pull-ups at. And he was this like 85-year-old or 90-year-old guy. And he was just doing push-ups and pull-ups and flexible. And I got to know him a little bit. And the thing that really struck me about it wasn't really his physical ability, which was just astounding. But talking to the guy, it was like talking to a young person full of ideas and possibility. And he always had this like kind of like glint in his eye. He's always kind of silly and joking around, full of kind of wonder and joy and humor. And I was just like, man, this is an 85-year-old guy living like, you know, a 12-year-old. And I just thought that was so cool. So anyway, the point of the story is it's not just your body, it's your mind and it's your spirit as well. And I think there's a big connection between all those. And it'd be fun to explore that with you guys. And that's why the Age Defying Pillar exists. So anyway, I'll stop talking. I think it would be cool to ask Andy if he would define what you know, age defying health means to him for a second, just to kind of kick things off. And then if there's like one other guy that wants to share their own definition of age defying health, I'd be really curious. It'd be interesting to hear what you guys think about it. What's up, Mike? So Andy, do you want to share your quick and dirty definition of age defying health, like what it means to you?
Yeah, thanks for the kudos too. We're always our own biggest critic. So when I got this baton handed to me, I was a little intimidated and brought on an expert who's, I think you guys are really gonna like. But I mean, if you had to sum it up in one word, I think it's energy to me. And age defying health is, I think, having the discipline to have energy and to treat yourself right. And I personally struggled with that. You know, when I was you know, 12 and 13, I was a fat kid. I mean, I was huge. I had a horrible diet, and I went Atkins for years, just barely eating and working out all the time. So since basically puberty, I've been very aware of it, and it's been, you know, a pillar that has taken a lot of energy for me to stay disciplined. So I certainly don't see myself as the epitome of age defying health, but I think just having the discipline to give yourself energy, and that's what leads to the youthfulness, is how I define age defying health.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I hadn't even really considered that, but yeah, energy. If you wake up in the morning and you're feeling tired, it's easy to feel creaky, you know, and like you can't take stuff on. But if you wake up and you got a high level of energy and you're just feeling like you can take stuff on, that usually also is positivity. Like, totally. I think energy is huge. And you can keep it. You can keep to generating it throughout the course of your life. Awesome. Anybody, is there one other guy that wants to share their own definition of age defying health, whether it's, you know, looking better than your peers or living longer or your mental well-being or what, anything, anybody, does this speak to anybody that they want to share their own definition?
Yeah, I'll share some, Charlie.
Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
Sorry for the background noise. I think my wife just turned on the blender. If you guys can hear that, perfect timing. So, you know, I've been thinking about this concept. I heard it on a podcast a while ago. This guy was drawing a distinction between your lifespan, which is how long you're going to live, and your health span, which is how long you're going to live a healthy life for, right? And what he was saying is, you know, we've gotten really good at keeping people alive a long time because of modern medicine. But a lot of people, those last 10, 20, 30 years of their life are living pretty miserable, right? Because they're not healthy. And, you know, you can't control everything but how long you live. A lot of that is genetics and other stuff. But this idea of your health span, how long you're going to be healthy, fit, strong, sharp, energetic for, that's the one you can really control and focus on. And the goal is to minimize the gap between those two, because nobody wants to be a vegetable for 30 years, right? We all want to live to 100, but, you know, we want to be doing shit till we're 95, right? And so I've just been thinking about that a lot, and, you know, how I can impact that.
Yeah, I love it, man. It brings up in my mind this idea, and I don't know if you guys ever studied the idea of, like, it's really similar to what you just said, but chronological age versus biological age. You know, like there's this thing that I used to do when I had a trainer back in Boston, where you'd get on this machine and it would like measure your body, your BMI, would measure some like electrode stuff. And it would say, okay, your body age is, I was at the time like 34, but your age of your chronological age is 34, but your body age at that time was like, it was like 31 or 32. And my wife, when she did it, she was my same age and she was coming in at 28. And I was like, man, I want to get down to 28. So, and as I increased like the level, and she was stoked on that, by the way. She was like, I'm 28. And as we kept working out with Phil, who's my personal trainer, I saw it go down much slower than my wife's for whatever reason, but I went from like 34 down to like 30. I never broke 30, but it was kind of cool to think about it that way. You know, it's like a car. Our bodies are like cars. If we beat them up, they crap out sooner. If we treat them well and keep them maintained, they last longer, right? And our minds, I think, kind of similar. So, all right, cool. Thanks guys, thanks for sharing that, Ian, and thanks, Andy. So we'll get into this. It's gonna be a really interesting conversation. And but before we get into that, obviously we've got some rituals that we've got to get through for the mastermind. The first one is we want to hear from all of you guys with the wins and challenges exercise. That's the first thing we'll do. We'll then go into a deep dive into Andy. Andy's going to tell us about his life and quickly share his one sheet so we can get to know him a little better. And then Andy's going to introduce Luke Wakefield, who's going to be our wisdom drop. He's going to drop a bunch of solid wisdom on us for about 40 minutes and give us 20 minutes of Q&A time. And then we'll go in and do a crowdsourcing wisdom where we can keep the conversation going that we just started a few minutes ago. You know, we will, have the opportunity to ask questions of each other for guys that are crushing it with physical fitness and age defying health. We can share our ideas, et cetera. So we'll have, 20, 30 minutes for that. And then we'll end with a few administrative things. So we've got, a lot of stuff coming up in the next month and some stuff coming up really soon, some fun stuff. So we'll share all that stuff, talk about the upcoming Q2 one sheet needs that we've got. We'll talk about the accountability brother structure and then end with just gratitude and a highlight reel. So that's basically the agenda for the day. So without further ado, let's get into the wins and challenges exercise. And just for everybody's reminder, since we got some new guys in the group, Chuck and Bo, we want to essentially in 2 minutes, you got to be really intentional with this, guys. So I really appreciate you being concise. Go around, give a 1 to 2 minute update. That's going to include your quick 1 sentence intro, your name, your profession, your family, and where you live. And then give 1 or 2 top wins from the previous month, like something you're really proud of that you want to share, that you're stoked about. And then the next piece of this is if you've got a request for help from the tribe or an opportunity to share, please rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not big deal or not a big opportunity, 10 being like, this is a big damn deal, I need your help right away, or this is a huge opportunity for you all to really do something incredible with me. So share that and we'll record notes and take care of this so that way we can support each other. So new guys and old, please stick to that 2 minute thing. We've got about 15 guys in here, so we're going to try and do this in about 30 minutes and just pay attention. This is a great way to get to know each other and see how we can support each other. So I'll kick it off and just model it if that's all right. And then Andy's going to go next. And then we'll just go around and whoever the next guy is, we'll end with the new guy. Well, actually, we're going to go with Bo's going to be like 4 because he actually has to jump. He's emceeing a huge event down in Georgia right now. So he's going to be on in about 5 or 10 minutes. And then Chuck's going to go closer to the end so he can see how we all do this. But anyways, so I'll get it started. Essentially, again, hey guys, my name's Charlie. I live here in Boulder with my wife, Christina. And my profession is I'm an investment professional. I am a professional investor in the multifamily asset class at this moment in time. And my win from the last month, well, my wife started walking again. She had a big surgery on her knee, so she's moving around and is ambulatory, which is a huge win for us. And well, we put out as many offers last week on multifamily assets as we did in the entire previous year. So just the win as deal flow is up and we're closing on a deal on the 24th. So kind of from the professional realm, that's a big win for me. And I guess a request for help from you guys, I would give this a 7 or an 8. And essentially it's related to the tribe. We've got a lot of new stuff coming out. We've got guys bringing up investment clubs and book clubs and poker nights and trail runs and all kinds of cool stuff. And my request to the tribe is just pick one thing that is being introduced and engage in it besides the mastermind. Just pick one thing and engage in it, this coming month and get to know the guys a little better in that regard. So that's my 1, 7 or 8 request for help is just, these brothers put a lot of time into planning and organizing these things. And this is a huge resource for us. So pick one thing and go for it. So that's my update. Andy, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I'll go into my story later since I'm hosting today, but
Cool.
some things I could use help with are accountability. Kind of fallen off the wagon recently with vacations and a back injury, which Luke, coincidentally, the guy speaking today, is my trainer, getting me better on that. If any of you guys know any RV park or campground operators, I'd love to talk to them. I've got a pretty unique deal that I'm going to be selling. Can talk about that specifically with anybody that's got help, but I need some help marketing that. A pretty cool win was we were selling a subject to property and we kept hounding the bank for a payoff, and they finally just said the payoff is nothing. Here's your release. So we made an extra 60 grand on a deal. So that was a nice little boost. But yeah, we'll get into all the health stuff and personal bio later.
Andy, what's your 1 to 10 rating on the accountability need, which I would assume your accountability brother would be good with, but what about the RV park need for like operators and stuff on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, accountability 7, and kudos to Mark Jeffries. He's been prodding me and keeping me going. That guy's very strict, and he's great with himself, by the way.
Awesome.
And then the RV park's like a 5. It's probably going to get launched in the next 30 days.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay, all right, man. Keep us updated, and we got that locked in. You want to pick someone to go next? Maybe one of the more brothers that have been with us for a while and knows how to do this, and then we'll go to Bo.
Yeah, let's go with Nate Smith.
All right, Nate, you're up, buddy.
Hey guys, I'm on the hill, so I don't know if you can hear me all that well, but Nate Smith, Thornton, Colorado, pharmacist, real estate investor. A couple wins this last month, had a great time with the Go Bros doing the midterm mile. Charlie and Adam and Travis and Mike were all there. That was a blast. I'd never been backcountry skiing before. They really showed us how to do it, and that was really neat for me. Kate and I went to the Carolinas beginning of March. That was a great trip, just her and I, just to get away and just spend some time connecting again. That really helped us out, and we're in a good spot. Any asks I have one that's pretty big, actually. My GoPod's coming out to Colorado. I believe it's the first weekend in August. We're going to climb Mount Elbert and do a few things. So I'd like to kind of organize a social gathering while they're here so they can meet some of you and vice versa. So if I can get your guys' help when the time comes on that, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I put that like a 7. That's all I got. That's right.
Right on, man. We'll definitely help you out with that.
Cole, you're up next.
All right, let's go straight.
All right, Adam, go, and then Bo.
Hey guys, Adam Cole here. Formerly live in Denver. I feel like I live on the ski slope to these days. Realtor, flipper, investor, developer, couple odds and ends. Super grateful. I think I've skied 13 days this month and we're on day 18. So feeling pretty good about that and super happy. I am going to need to work towards raising some capital for my 44 unit apartment building. And I'll look for you guys for a little bit of help with that here pretty soon. And that would probably be like a 4 or something like that, Charlie.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Adam.
Yep, Bo.
Yeah, go for it, Bo.
Yep. Hey, everybody. It's good to meet everybody. Thanks for making time for me. So again, my name is Bo Parfit. I have a wife, Meredith. We have 2 boys. They are 9 and 5. Live in Boulder, Colorado. Our kids go to school in Colorado. I work out of St. Augustine, Florida for DLP Real Estate Capital. It's a $1 billion real estate company. We have real estate in like 21 states. So my migration pattern is Michigan and Florida. So I kind of like that migration pattern. I am the Chief Growth Officer for DLP. So I help DLP grow in kind of all facets of the business, which we could get into later. One of the highlights for me is I wrote 2 children's books with my boys who are 9 and 5. So they should be published here in a month or 2. So I'm really proud. It was a great bonding experience for me and my boys. We had a good time writing the book. the 2 books. My one ask from the group is for grace. I ask for grace. I just joined, a couple months ago, and I'm still kind of getting up to speed and what have you. So there's a huge event I'm putting on. I'm actually going to have dinner with Davis Love III tonight. So that's kind of fun. We have a famous Navy SEAL coming here as well. So I kind of put on the event. Otherwise, I would be on this call. So there's probably 3 weeks or 4 weeks that are really bad for me. This happens to be one. So I'm asking for grace. And, just with humility, I look forward to meeting everybody and spending a lot of time with people here next month and many months to come and years to come. So thank you, Charlie, for allowing me to participate for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, Bo. And definitely, man, take as much leeway as you need as you finish and stay focused on whining and dining great professional golfers out that way. And happy to have you part of the tribe, man. Excited to get to know you better. I guess we'll get a trail, a hike in sometime soon in April.
Or a skin, would be great. A little backcountry would be fun.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Cool. We'll let everybody know about that. And is there one, Bo, is there one thing that you're really like looking to get out of the GoBundance and out of the local tribe? And if there's one thing you're excited to give, and I know I didn't prep you for this, but if there's anything that comes to mind, if not, think on it and tell us next time. But if there's one thing that you're really looking to get out of it and give, that would be kind of a cool thing for the tribe to know.
It's a good question. And I'm a member of YPO as well, for anyone that knows what YPO is. And Charlie and I talked about this yesterday. And YPO is kind of stiff. It's a stiffer type of organization. And I was just in Tahoe with the Go Abundance gang. And I said, man, these are my people. Like, this is, I don't need to work all the time. I need to get out and have some more fun. So I would just, one thing I'm looking forward to is nice, authentic, fun relationships. Having people kind of, make me realize that I need to stop and smell the roses, and there's more to life. So I think that so far this group has done a nice job of that.
Awesome. Thank you, Bo. Yeah. And there's definitely some guys in this tribe that have the fun balance down in their lives really, really well. I can see them all smiling back. So we'll definitely support you there and bring all this good energy, man. We're loving it. So cool. Let's go on to the next guy. Hey, Chuck, are you ready to go, or do you want to wait for a couple more guys to give theirs?
I think I'm ready to go.
All right, let's let everybody know who you are.
All right, thanks. Yes, I'm Chuck O.C. I live in King Carroll Valley. It's over by Red Rocks. I moved out to Colorado in '96. I came out here to ski for a year in Breck. Ended up staying. I work for the Breck Fire Department. I'm a captain there. So I've been there for 24 years now. Actually, the most senior guy as of last week. One guy above me retired. So I'm married for 18 years, and I have a 9-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. I also dabble in real estate. I have, just 4 properties. I have 3 mortgage notes that I own, so I've been adding some notes lately.
Nice.
As far as wins go, since we're talking about age-defying health, I have meditated for the last 24 days in a row, and
Nice.
Most of those days were twice in a row. So that's been good. That's like my biggest streak so far.
That's awesome, man.
If I have any asks, I'm at the point where I need to start figuring out how to joint venture or use other people's money. That would probably be something I want to learn. So I would put that as a 7 out of 10. If anybody had any information where you could point me in the right direction, even if it's just books or whatever, that's kind of my route going forward. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chuck. And definitely get involved with the investment club, because that's, a big topic of conversation, and that's a great way to scale and grow. Also plug the multifamily micro tribe, which I lead with a couple guys. We're gonna actually be talking about leveraging and talking about scaling asset acquisition, and a big part of that is leveraging, capital, both private and also debt. So yeah, join the investment club, and
Cool.
everybody here is learning about those same things and or experts at that very thing. So
Great.
there's a couple guys definitely you should meet within the tribe real soon and talk about that.
Awesome.
Cool. Glad to have you, Chuck. Welcome to the tribe, man.
Thanks.
And also, Mike Del Sesta, you can now you got another guy to talk to about fire departments with. You actually look like you're wearing your fire department gear right now. Oh yeah. Anyway, Del Sesta, do you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, I look forward to meeting you, man. I just submitted my application to the Boulder Mountain Fire Department as a volunteer. Still waiting to hear back on that. But yeah, I mean, in terms of wins, just I was reflecting the other day just how much my lifestyle has improved, my stress has reduced, and for me, that's what Age Defying Health is about. There's a direct correlation, at least for me, between my stress level and how I was feeling every day. So that's a big win for me. And I also posted in the Slack, I had a legal settlement that I didn't give up on, and it paid off, which was a win for me because when I was younger, I used to be more of a pushover, and I've been able to stand up for myself more, and it's it feels good to do that. And in terms of an ask, I've got a couple coaching relationships that are winding up. If anyone knows any young guys who are looking to get into real estate, I'd love to help them out. It's not something I charge money for. I just I get a lot out of it personally, and enjoy doing it. So there's that. And then anyone who knows anyone who needs a hard money loan, myself along with several others in the tribe would like to give them a mortgage. I put those both at around a 5 or a 6. And I forgot the intro. I live in Boulder, and I invest in apartment buildings and also medical space. That's me.
Right on. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Who still needs to go?
There's a few guys. So
did Travis go yet? How about Travis?
Not yet. Travis, why don't you go?
All right, buddy. Thanks. Hey, Travis Hightower, real estate agent. I live downtown Denver, and love it. It's a lot of fun. Wins from last month. I hired an assistant to like free me up and give me some help. I was really disempowered around just like more tasks. I shared this with Zach and I think some other people in the group as well. So that's been awesome, just having those systems unfold a little bit more and just getting more into like what's possible versus like, oh my gosh, I have all this stuff to do. Also the GoBro Mastermind in at Vail was really awesome. Just like connecting with you guys and, celebrating Mike's birthday for like 3 days and seeing Adam and Charlie and Nate and just like hanging out. It was like really refreshing. And inside of like having the team to free me up, I mean, I was still grinding, right? But I wasn't like showing houses and unavailable. So that was really fun. I had a blast, especially on Sunday. My ask is financial accountability. Zach and I are working on this, and I want to just get my taxes filed for last year. I know it's a little early, but I think those are the steps that need to take place to just get back into the passive income game more instead of the active. So if that's my ask, I'd put it at a 5. And right now I have support. If I'm still talking about it next month, the numbers need to move up for sense of urgency. So that's it.
Thanks, Travis. Appreciate it, man. Let's see, who should we go to next? Who else we got here? Mike McCarthy, you want to go since you've got some constraints? You might have to jump off at some point.
Sure, thanks. I really appreciate hearing everyone's updates so far. It's great to see everybody. Some of my wins, I just got back to Austin, was in Colorado for a few months and was able to get 59 snowboard sessions in while I was there. So I really crushed my my goal of 30, and then I set it to 50, and then I set it to 55, and I reset it to 60, but I just ran out of days. So it was great though. I live in Silverthorne for winter and summer, and then I come to Austin for spring and fall. Sorry, I missed some of you guys when we were out there. Like Charlie said, I can't wait to get back to meeting in person again, and I'll be back this summer. Related to my challenges is also creating an interesting opportunity is the school that we were so stoked about here in Austin, which you may have heard a lot about in Acton Academy, is actually not really working out too well for our youngest, who's 8 years old. She's struggling to learn to read. So that's our biggest challenge right now. It may actually result in us staying in Silverthorne for an entire school year, which would be cool. My wife really wants to settle down, and I'm not opposed to being in Colorado for as much time as I can get back there in my home state. So I'm kind of pumped about that, but it's also really challenging. We got to sort through what schools the kids are going to go to and what to do there in Summit County, but pumped about that. I would rate that like a 6 right now. We're doing some testing and some other things, so I don't need a whole lot of help with it. And yeah, my main gig is I'm one of the co-founders of GoBundance, for those of you that don't know. And so been with the tribe since the very beginning, and proud to be an owner of it and just watch it grow to what it is today. And I'm also a franchise developer for Keller Williams. So, and that's it. Happy to be here with everybody. Good to see you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Let's see who's ready to go next. I saw someone wave their hand. Brian, why don't you hit it, man?
Thank you, Charlie. Brian Weaver, Fort Collins. Well, I live in Windsor now, but do business out of Fort Collins. I own a construction company. We specialize in granite and quartz countertops. 3 kids, 10-year-old girl, 9-year-old boy, 4-year-old boy. Let's see here. Wins. Hired on a new sales guy last week that I'm pretty excited about. We've been gelling pretty good. And then another cool thing, last week, Adam challenged me to do a 40-hour fast, which I accepted but procrastinated on, pushed it a week. I as part of accepting it, but still pushed it. And that was great. It was really cool. I felt really clear-headed. The following day, which is, I didn't realize that Qdoba has been messing up my brain, keeping me from being clear-headed. So that was cool. I did not do that this week. With the snow, I guess I gave myself a hall pass, but I'm going to be doing it again next week and planning to continue to do that. Challenge, I haven't been to the gym in the last 8 days, although I have played hockey 4 times in the last 8 days, but still my commitment was to go to the gym, 4 to 5 days a week. And I have not done that in a week and a half. So that's my ask, is just, maybe checking in with me to see if I'm going to the gym. And I'd put that at about a 7. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. And Brian, you're set up now with a accountability brother, right? Is that Adam?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Adam, so just take note, man. Put it in your phone. Make sure you're checking on him.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. Let's see who's next. We got Mike Hartwell. You want to give us an update, Mike? Oh, you're on mute right now. There you go.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Mike Hartwell. Single, never been married, no kids, no no child support, any of that stuff. I started my first business. I was 15 years old with my business partner, Paul. We're still working together. And about 2 years ago, we sold most of our company to a private equity group, 65% of it. And so the remaining 35%, the big corporate, the monsters that own us have put it up for sale again, which is wonderful. And that leads me into my win. It was actually just 2 days ago when we received 10 bids on the company.
Wow. Awesome.
They'll start sorting that down, and eventually there'll be one winner.
Awesome.
And what I do after that, I don't know. I'm sure they'll put some golden handcuffs on me for a little while, and I'll be happy to put those on. For an ask, it's pretty specific. I've been looking to buy a new home in Littleton, not too far from King Carl there, over in Littleton. And I found exactly what I want. And how often does that happen? But I can't get it because there's an 80-person waiting list in front of me. And I was reaching out to the GoBro, community to see if anybody has a contact at Lanier Homes. If they can kind of see what I can do to move up the list, and I'm willing to pay extra. I'm willing to get the house that I want. I'm willing to pay a premium on that. And on the health side of things, what do you call it? The theme of the year for me, I put on here was energy, because I've been lacking on energy big time. I used to go to the boxing gym every day until COVID, and I refused to go in and box with a mask on. I just don't want to do it. And I'll be going down to Phoenix here for another week. I was there a couple weeks ago, and I was a lot more active. My step count was about triple normal. And just because the weather was nice, I was outside, hiking and having a good time. And I need someone to help me be accountable on that front.
Okay. Awesome. And so with the first ask on jumping the list for the home purchase, what would you give that on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, because I already have a perfectly fine house, I guess it's not that high, but I guess I'd put it about a 7.
Okay. All right. And then for the accountability around your health and energy, what would you put that?
That's probably like a 10. I got to get that shit going.
Okay. Well, if that's a 10, then let's listen up. That's a big ask, and not a big ask, but an important ask, let's say. And Mike, do you have a accountability brother right now, right?
No.
You don't? Okay. Well, let's make sure we get that set up for you.
Oh, wait, I did talk to, who was it? Kurt? I was supposed to give him a call today, but he's been busy traveling. I've been busy traveling. We haven't really connected yet.
Kurt Bush. All right. Well, let's find somebody in the local tribe, that can be an accountability brother for you. Because that way you've got someone that's solid that we all know and can kind of check in on as well. So Adam, let's help get Mike set up with an accountability brother as soon as possible. We got some new guys that just came in, so that could actually work out perfectly between Chuck and Bo. So Mike, we'll follow up with you on that real soon. Okay, today. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Let's see who wants to go. Well, we got a couple guys left. We got Andrew Carpenter. Hey, Andrew, why don't you go? And we got Zach left. Yep. Okay.
So my name's Andrew. I live in the Park Hill neighborhood of Denver with my wife. No kids yet. And I am traditionally trained as a software engineer. So that's my career. Currently working at Amazon. That's kind of the win and challenge is related to that. So I've kind of decided that it's time to move on for Amazon, just getting kind of bored with it and looking for the next opportunity. So doing all the normal tech industry, polish up my interviewing skills, all that stuff, because I don't want to let the career path go right now. I like what I'm doing, and I think there's a lot of growth there, and it's enabled me to get this far. So my ask on that is if anybody has I'm looking for a small company. So a startup or a medium-sized tech company that you guys are invested in, or if you know anybody that I can talk to there, that's kind of where I'm exploring now. So if there's something really interesting that you guys know about, happy to hear about it. So that's kind of more of I would put that at a 5. So I've got plenty of irons in the fire on my own, but always happy to resource stuff from the tribe. Second request, I'm going to be starting up a book club soon for the group here. I sent out a survey a little bit ago. I'll put it in the chat again, in the Slack again, if anybody wants to, but I got only 6 responses out of, I think there's 40 or 50 in the group and 20 on the call. So if anybody's interested in that, please fill out the survey if you want to give your input on where it's going to go. I have had to make a couple decisions, but always open to more feedback. So.
Same. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So anybody, guys, kind of just piggybacking off of my request for help, like take on some engagement apart from the mastermind. It could really add a lot to your fellow brothers and also to yourself. So cool. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it, man. And everybody is looking for a new job in the tech company. So just poke around, keep your antenna up. All right. Who we have left? I think we've got Zach Otten, Brandon, Gil, and Ian. So who wants to go next? Ian, you got your hand up.
Sure. Hi, guys. For the new guys I haven't met, Ian Milligan Pate. I live in Centennial with my wife, Kachla, and 2 boys, 17 and 12. I work for a tech company and invest in real estate. And let's see, in terms of highlights, we were out in Tahoe for the big event, which was definitely awesome, and got to bring my wife and my younger son there. And it was, it was a great event, but it was also just great to have the time with them. Got a couple days on the mountain with my son. Caught a little connected with some of the other wives of guys in the tribe, so that was super cool as well. And then a win, I had a small equity event, and I'm going to buy my mom a car. So I'm pretty stoked on that.
Nice.
Never really given a gift that big to anyone. So yeah, pretty excited. I'm gonna tell her actually later today.
Nice.
And yeah, I don't have an ask for the tribe at the moment.
Okay. Thanks, man. Who wants to go next? Brandon, maybe? How's it going, man?
What's up, guys? Yeah, this is Brandon Gill. I've met most of you guys before, with the exception of, I think, a few of you, but Brandon Gill specialized in land and development, predominantly urban land. Company is Urban Land Acquisitions. Some of my wins here, I've got two that I wanted to note. The first one is our goal was to have 10 employees, a company of 10. Actually, not, between me and my partner, so 10 of us by the end of the year. And it's mid-March, and we've just made our 5th hire.
Nice.
So we've got 5 people here, and we're revving up, and I think our trajectory will definitely lead us to 10 by the end of the year. So really stoked about that.
Nice.
The other thing is training for Leadville 50-mile race, and I've been making really good progress with that. I'm up to about 25 miles a week right now, increasing probably 5 miles every week hereafter. It should plateau in a couple of months, but even this weekend, I'll probably knock out a good 25 miles this weekend. So really love the momentum behind that. Really spills out to the rest of my life. So
nice, man.
also decided to dry out for a good couple of months here and not drink while I'm training, because I did see that there was some conflict with the training schedule and a night out. So I'm gonna dry out for a little bit, but yeah, that's that. As far as a request and an ask, I've mentioned this before, but I purchased a piece of land last year that we're looking to do 50 apartment units aimed at affordable housing. So definitely looking for more of a modular construction. Charlie and I have talked about this in the past too, with shipping containers, and the state of the market just is really not there for shipping containers. They're just pretty restrictive, and they're recently getting pricey. So looking for anybody that has any modular construction resources, contacts, manufacturers that they're willing to pass along my way. I'm really interviewing manufacturers on a weekly basis at this point, and I'm really looking for somebody that can be in Colorado. If anybody has any modular construction companies that are in state or cost effective, potentially outside of state, definitely open to any of that. So
okay. Brandon, what would you rate that on a scale of 1 to 10?
8.
All right. You guys heard him. That's a big one. So if anybody's got any connections in modular construction, send them to Brandon. Hit him on Slack or email or whatever's easiest. Cool. Yeah. We got a couple left. We got to go kind of quick, guys, because we got to get on to the main event, which is Defying Health. So can Zach go real quick, and John Samuelson?
Yeah. I'm Zach. I've been Parker, Colorado, realtor, 2 boys, 3 and 1. And then I have we have a third on the way. And then big win so far, lost 15 pounds this year. So definitely making some progress on there with the goal of 50 for the year. And then don't really have an ask as of right now beyond, my focus is solely on just the health aspect for the current moment, which I have in 2 different accounts.
Okay.
So
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for being concise. And who's left? I guess we just got John Samuelson. John, are you able to, or are you dropping the kids off?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I just got to a spot where I can talk. So Yeah, I'm John Samuelson. I've been a software engineer for a long time.
Oh, I can't hear him.
We have a consulting company and a training company, like a certification type of deal. Do a little bit of real estate. That's kind of what I do. Big win for me this month was I've been having a ton of back and knee pain to the point where I'm just not active and just a crotchety, grumpy fuck, to be honest. So I just found this. I've had problems with finding good doctors, and I finally found this guy that I just got these Prolozone shots, and I'm just feeling like night and day difference. So that's pretty much the game changer for me. Recently, don't really have any big asks this month. Just grinding hard on the SaaS company. So,
okay, right on. Thanks, John. Appreciate you jumping on to share. And then I guess the last guy, Mark Jeffries, you able to give a quick update?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, Mark.
Hey guys, sorry, can't do video. It's been kind of a crazy day on the phone here, but as far as wins go, getting some big agency deals signed up. Just fingers crossed that rise in rates doesn't derail us here, but we're holding tight with where things are. So things have been really good in that regard. Staying good with the fitness routine and in strength training. So everything's been pretty good. No real ask for me. I'll be brief because I know we got to get on at the main event here.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate you jumping on. Good to hear your voice. All right, guys. So let's move on. Andy is a monster among men. He's an awesome part of this tribe, a monster in the best possible way. And he'll tell. He's now going to take it away and kind of tell us a little bit about his life. Maybe quickly share his one sheet, although we can all have access to it afterwards if we need to look at it more closely. But yeah, you got about 10, 15 minutes, Andy. So yeah, man, take it away. Really glad to have you leading this age defying health pillar conversation, man.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie and guys. I just bumped the speaker out to 3:05, so we got a little more time. But yeah, the condensed version. I moved out here from Ohio in 2008, Midwest family. The youngest of 5 siblings. I'm married, no kids. Work out here with my oldest brother. He's my business partner, and I came out here. I'd always spend spring breaks and just wanted to get out of Ohio. So that's how I ended up working here and started swinging a hammer for him. That was back in 2008. Grew up playing soccer most of my life and still play on co-ed teams from time to time out here. But now I'm half goalie, half defense, but I need to get back into age defying health mode and be full defense and maybe midi. But yeah, work-wise, I'm a landlord, flipper, work all over the state. We just kind of specialize in unique properties, whether that's asset class or geographics, and in distress, and usually combine all 3 of those. And that's just we just kind of work in Podunk, Colorado, all over the place now. Got involved in GoBundance with Adam Cole. He and I met just through social gatherings and partying together, and I think he brought me and Gil and about half the crew on board. And what brings me here to the tribe is just the energy and positivity and support, and we can all just kind of vent our first world problems to each other and have a receptive crowd where we bitch about something that's a big money deal or something that's really not a problem, and people just kind of lean into it, and we can all relate. So that's what I get most from the tribe. I guess why Charlie put together a really cool little format, Q&A, which I'm kind of going through, but why I'm qualified to be the leader, being pessimistic on myself, I didn't think I was the right person to lead this tribe for age defying health. I think I've got a long way to go, but I do keep it in check. Colorado's really good with that just because everybody here is so freaking fit and takes care of himself. But yeah, I guess like I was saying earlier, really rough diet when I was in my younger days. So just keeping a grip on that since age 13 has really been a big part of my life. And I want those habit formations to be a lot stronger and be more of treating myself and taking care of myself instead of kind of restriction mindset. So I'm really looking for help with that shift. And coincidentally, the guy that I brought on, I messed my back up a few weeks ago because I was just kind of going too hard in the gym and doing powerlifting stuff and not taking care of the small muscles. But the guy that I brought on today is just a physiological badass. He can go in and rip the hardest, heaviest stuff out, but at the same time, he can make you cry with just some stretch bands and moving you around the functional movement gym and can pinpoint exactly what's wrong with your body. And that's why I brought him on. I think he's going to be a lot different than a lot of the other people. But I'll just do a quick screen share and run through my one sheet. So do you need to click anything, Charlie, or do I just need to click into that?
You should be good to go.
Okay.
Your co-host, you should be able to share. You see the little green share screen at the bottom in the middle?
Yep.
All right, good.
All right. Let me do this. All right, can you guys see that?
Yep, boom.
All right. Good. So I will be getting naked in front of you guys. So here's my numbers. These are 2020. I had 250 passive, about 360 vertical. And we flipped a lot less than normal because we're trying to really grow the passive. Personal expenses, I'm basically penciling that to double because I want to live life and smell the roses, as Bo would say, a lot more than just being a grinder. And personal taxes, looking to drop that from 175 down to 50 by implementing a lot of cost segs and creative tax strategies. Actual invest, I put all in because like most of you guys, we're addicted to real estate. And if you see something shiny, you got to throw every penny at it constantly. So balance sheet strong and cash poor most of the time. Here's where I'm sitting on current net worth. Hoping to be on the 7 to 8 here soon. So goal is to hit 10 before I'm 37, which would be May, and to have $500,000 in passive. And that would be including salaries for my manager and for my field guy. So really want that to be a true 500 where I'm not as active managing the passive. There's like Mike Polio would say, it's not really passive because there's so much stuff that goes wrong with rental income. 2020 top highs are, we had a big scare with our dad with cancer. So he is coming out of that really well. Had a really good connection with our core group here at the Christmas party and starting to have more fun instead of just grinding here. We put together our biggest deal last year, which was a really cool, creative industrial deal where it should pencil out to about 800 of net profit. So that was a really fun one to throw together. We closed out a legal dispute. Upcoming highs, just hit a goal on the passive, just ramped that up. Got a vacation in with the lady, got another one coming up this weekend. So really gonna be living a lot more and having fun on the weekends. Gonna celebrate our engagement. That's kind of COVID dependent, but gonna run down to Costa Rica or Puerto Rico. We've got a partnership deal that's not going so hot. Want to close that out for an upcoming high. That's part of that RV park deal I was mentioning at the beginning of the call. I want to spend some money on my house and really make it a cozy place to live and get an interior designer and just make it a really good environment. It's just kind of like the cobbler's kids have no shoes type of thing where I don't feel like spending the energy to fix my house up because I'm fixing houses up all freaking day long. So definitely want to do that. Bucket list. That kind of coincides with the upcoming highs. Got Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. Gonna do Alaska, visit one of my friends for a fishing trip. Here's my current health. That I've gone up about 5 pounds just because my accountabilities to myself's been pretty rough the last few weeks. I'm not sure what my body fat is. My GB9 at the beginning of the year was 154. Life happiness 5.52. And let's see here. So I want to get to 210 and 18% for the body fat. For spiritual, I want to do a meditation workshop and breathing workshop. I think we're going to be doing a little bit of breathing exercise today with the speaker, Luke. I'm calling my house spiritual because that's where I live and I want it to be spiritual and amazing and comfortable. So I want to get there. Lifestyle and adventure coincides with upcoming highs, do 4 big trips, and then need to hire a new analyst and project manager to help take some off myself and my brother's plate for work so we can play a little more. For the personal growth, looking to read a book a month, do the morning ritual 5 times a week. Business and career, add commercial niches, get to 375 passive by the end of the year, and then outsource a lot of analysis and just kind of grunt work that I'm doing online that I don't need to be doing, and then network with a lot more movers and shakers in small markets. With the family and friendships, I want to do a one-on-one with every local Go Abundance brother, visit my family back in Ohio. And then financial, I want to know my numbers instead of just sprinting all the time, actually know what that looks like and do some look backs. Trim the time sucks out of business and life. And then environment and tribe, looking to find some mentors and then also help my wife keep buying rental properties, and had a good win. She just bought a rental last week. So trying to get a deal every quarter for her at the minimum. So what do I need help with? Accountability is something I keep echoing. So health and positivity, just celebrating the wins was what my theme said at the top. I skipped over that and want to outsource and work a lot smarter instead of harder. And the one thing for holding accountability is personal growth and habit formation, and just really sticking to what I'm committing to and not falling off the wagon for, weeks at a time and kind of going down that spiral, which is easy to do. But that's my down and dirty summary. I asked the speaker to come on at like 3:05. So got a few minutes if anybody has anything, or if we want to bump that out to the end of the call, that's totally fine too.
Well, Andy, I'll just say one thing. First of all, thank you for sharing that and just bearing it all. I appreciate it takes a lot to just, first of all, put everything up there in front of everybody, and you got an impressive one sheet here. And in terms of the accountability and some of your asks down at the bottom, certainly the accountability brother structure, has that been something that you've been implemented and used within the last few months since we got it going?
It has, yeah. I started strong with that, and then I took a vacation and had an injury, and I've been just a bad partner with Jeffries myself, and then also with my GoPod I've been pretty bad, so just need to step up my game there.
Yeah, I have the same thing. If I ever get injured or if I go on vacation, it's like I have the exact same outcome. So I have to work on that myself too. But yeah, use your accountability structure. We're going to be likely switching it up for the next quarter, just because that was one of the intentions that we'd set, is we'd start with, one accountability brother, and then we would switch to another so that we can all get to know each other better and kind of start flexing strengths. So, if pairing up with someone who has similar needs can sometimes bring a breakthrough there. So let's consider that when we're finding your next accountability brother. So yeah, cool, man. But no, I don't have any other questions. Anybody else have anything before Luke comes on? Anything from Andy?
Nope. Thanks for listening, fellas.
Oh, Travis. All right, cool. All right. Right on. So
Cool.
yeah, I guess let's bring Luke in if he's ready to go.
Yeah, I'll text him that he can jump on.
Okay. Yeah, guys, just while we've got a moment in between Luke coming on, we did set the structure up for Accountability Brothers such that every quarter we would rotate and switch it up a little bit. So we're going to begin doing that. The most important thing that I need to know and Adam needs to know in order to like rejigger this whole thing is basically if you want an accountability brother first and foremost, if it's just like a yes or a no, because that gives us our total number and helps us to figure out how many we have to work with. So is there anybody that's a no on having an accountability brother? And there's no judgment there. Just if it's not working for you right now, or you just don't have the bandwidth for it, or it's not necessary, let us know, whether right now or after this call, so that we can reassess our numbers and figure it out. So is there anybody that's found it to be like something really great, or something that's been okay, or not what you expected?
Yeah, Charlie, the accountability has been awesome. Craig and I are really on a roll, and we're accomplishing a lot together. I want to recognize Andy. I was going to speak a moment ago, but I was in the past. That's fucking awesome, dude. I'm like really impressed by what you've built and the way that you did it. Like, I went to auctions for several years, and like, that is not fucking easy to buy something like that and then to stabilize it and hang on to it. I ended up selling everything that I got at auction. I had one that had a sinkhole that literally went to zero. So I'm just like super impressed by what you built, man, and wanted to recognize you for that, because I know it wasn't easy.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah,
Thanks,
think about
man.
it.
Got a badass partner along the ride with me, so that makes life easier, huh?
Yeah, man, you were swinging hammers in 2008, presumably making an hourly wage, and now you own that company 13 years later and have approaching 10 million in net worth, which is freaking crazy. So yeah, huge. And have a balance in your life besides just the wealth building stuff. Like, it's awesome, man. Well, I saw Luke's on, so Andy, you wanna take it away and introduce Luke?
Yeah, definitely. So Adam said, hey, I'm going to be out playing in the snow. Do you mind taking on Age Defying Health? And I said, of course. But I'm probably not the right guy to talk about Age Defying Health. And I met Luke through Pura Vida when I used to work out there. That was a really posh gym that was here in Cherry Creek. And he was one of the top trainers there. And I would, go in and get ass kickings at some of his classes. And then my brother and him have become very good friends over the years. And whenever there's been an injury, I've gone over to him, and as my cousin called it, this dude's a wizard after he's treated people. So I think he's somebody you can relate to. He lives a full life. He parties, he takes care of himself all at the same time. So he's not just this guru who doesn't live an actual life himself. So he's relatable and not judging you when he's working you on the table and you tell him what's going on with your body or what happened to you. But yeah, he's going to bring a different approach to Age Defying Health. And I just kind of gave him the topic, and he went on a roll and came up with this whole diagram he's going to put together. So Luke, I'll give it to you, and you can introduce yourself to the group, and then give your condensed version on what you think about Age Defying Health.
Alrighty, cheers, Andy. Hi guys. Looks like it's everyone male on here, so I'll be as kind of blunt and open and honest as I can. I do cuss. I'm obviously from the UK, so some stuff might come out. But just a brief background on me. I'm obviously from the UK. I originally came out to the country as a swimmer. So I spent 4 years at Louisville as a swimmer in undergrad and got my master's degree there. I left Louisville and went to work for Dr. Andrews, sports surgeon, so kind of pioneer of the ACL surgery and the Tommy John. So I got to work with the NFL, the NBA, the MLB. Left there and went to work for the US Army as a redevelopment contractor essentially. So I was stationed around for 4-week intervals and basically trained troops on how to train their own guys after being shot, stabbed, blown up, deployed, all that kind of stuff. So within that, obviously you have a lot of like the physiological aspects of health and conditioning, but also going out to Afghanistan and fighting at 10, 15,000 feet mountains and all that kind of stuff. So working with all that kind of spectrum. Sorry about that. We'll turn that right off. And so then after that, I ended up in Denver. And like Andy said, I kind of met Andy and Joe over at Pura Vida. And I've worked as a special populations physiologist since. So basically what that means is I specialize in post-sports orthopedic, psychiatric, cancer, metabolic, respiratory, all the kind of fun stuff that you probably should see a physical therapist for, but they're not well induced outside of just kind of taking stitches out, getting rehab going, that kind of thing. So when Andy asked me to talk about this in Age Defying Health, it was really a big point for me to kind of go back into the body and really break down what happens as we age. And this is stuff that I've been going through for a while, but just kind of brushing up. And so the way I kind of wanted to talk about this was really break down the systems of the body, kind of explain what's going on, and if there's a few things we can do. Now, what I'm not going to do, this is my full caveat, I am NSCA certified, so theoretically any information I should give should be as per the textbook or as per their information research put out. I'm not going to do that. So this is my caveat. I am not an NSCA trainer for the next hour. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys as much information as I can based on what I know, the research. If I pull research and it's done on mice versus humans, I'm going to tell you guys that. I'm going to tell you the application. We're going to go through that and then go through a little into some of the psychology stuff that I feel like is a big aspect of Age Defying Health, and then finish up with a couple of little movement exercises and breathing exercises just to get you guys through. So yeah, we're going to get started. So what kind of changes with age within health? Well, basically we are a walking brain and nervous system. That is essentially what our entire body is designed to do, is to provide energy and nutrients to the brain. But the brain needs other systems to mechanize that, to be able to intake nutrients, to be able to move, to be able to lift things, all that kind of stuff. So basically within the body, every cell is designed to provide something to the brain. So when we look at the brain, we can look at multiple different aspects. We can look at emotion, we can look at psychology, we can look at spirituality, all those kind of things. And those are all things that develop and change with time. It's almost like this evolution process within the brain. The body goes through the same kind of aspect of movement as well, in that the cells develop and they build and they evolve, but then eventually they regress and start to die off. So within the cells of the body, there's a few different things we can kind of tap into in some aspects, but there are certain other aspects of the body that we cannot do a damn thing about. And that's kind of what I'm going to try and get the information out of and crush some of the theories and the thoughts and the fallacies and that kind of stuff and go from there. So I figured with the most basic aspect of the body to talk about is the heart, cardiovascular system, something that we're all very worried about. Men getting above 50, obviously at a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, heart disease, atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, all that kind of stuff. So what actually happens within the heart as we age? Basically, the cells, they repair, they heal, just like any other muscle within the body. The heart is just a muscle. It has a different impulsive nervous system, so it comes straight from the brain, and we don't get to control that. The heart's muscles itself, the cells, start to break down and harden with age. We all hear the term arteriosclerosis and atherosclerosis and plaque within your cavities and all that kind of stuff. It's essentially hardening of those cell walls, and the heart is no different than that. So the main equation we use within the heart is cardiac output. This is a combination of your volume of blood that you can eject versus your heart rate. So however much blood you can pump out within a minute period. Between age 20 and age 80, your cardiac output drops by 50%. Straight up, regardless, that is just a natural diminishing aspect as we go on with age. So what is that eventually going to do to our system as we do get older? Well, we're not going to have enough oxygen to transport around. We're not going to be able to clear byproducts out. We're not going to be able to clear toxins, waste, anything like that. So within the heart, we get the decreased contractility, the motility. What can we really do to change that? Exercise, simple. Cardiovascular exercise, ramping that heart rate up, trying to get a little extra blood flow, trying to keep the heart in condition. As a muscle, just like you guys know, if you've had an injury, a surgery, or anything like that, that muscle starts to fade away. So if we have an ACL in the knee, we get that surgery done, the muscles in the quad, in the thigh start to atrophy and decrease. The heart essentially does the same thing. So as we start getting older, the heart starts to decrease that out. We have to keep that heart training. We have to keep that thing moving. But as far as everything else goes, there's not a huge amount outside of exercise and diet that we can do. There's no one specific diet that's going to help with the heart. There's no one specific type of exercise that's going to help with the heart. But what that becomes is it becomes this subjective, whatever you enjoy the most, whether that's riding a bike, running, weightlifting, anything like that, any kind of increased strain that you can put on the heart to retrain it is going to be the number one thing. So as you can tell, that was just talking about the heart and the cardiovascular system. I'm not here to give you guys the miracle cure for diet. I'm not here to give you guys the miracle cure for working out. There's what, 15, 20 guys on this Zoom. So to be able to do that, I would need to approach each of you guys individually. So the best I can do with the heart, diet and exercise, simple as that. Eat heart healthy stuff, exercise a little bit. Trust me, the lecture's going to get better from that. So after that, next system that we obviously think about is kind of protective. So that's going to be our skeletal system. So all the bones within your body, those will start to decrease with age. One of the biggest problems that we have in this country is osteoporosis. That is the weakening and the density decrease within the bone mass and structure itself. We have a couple of different variations of causes for that of what we know. The one thing that can ramp bone density up is weight training and increasing pressure and hardening onto the bone itself. So structurally within the body, adding some kind of weight, adding some kind of resistance is the one thing we know to increase that. As far as decreasing goes, we have lots of things within diet, the main thing being phosphorus. So calcium and phosphorus are two different minerals that work within the body, and they have negating effects. You always hear to strengthen weak bones, you want to drink milk, you want to do this, because why? It's got calcium in it. Phosphorus negates that basis. Phosphorus is found in most dark colored drinks. So dark sodas, dark beers, all that kind of stuff. It is typically the phosphate that gives it that color. So when we start talking about older women and larger women and diet cokes and thinking that diet is healthier than regular, that kind of stuff, it's not much to do with the sugar content, but we're pumping this individual full of phosphates. Those phosphates are going to negate the calcium, going to weaken the bones. Within races, within the human species, we have different bone densities and bone mass. And this is where I'm going to come off not necessarily politically correct, but I'm going to use the term Black versus African American, just out of this is not applicable to just African American. However, African American on a scale have the highest level of bone density. As a scientific fact, this is one reason you don't see many Black swimmers. Reason being that they actually sink a little lower down in the water, meaning they've got higher water resistance. However, we see a lot more Black runners. Their body posture is different. Their shaping and sizing is different. They can get a little further forward lean. So just within posture, there's a lot of skeletal density within that. After Black individuals, it becomes Latino and Hispanic. They have the second highest bone density. After that is Caucasian, white individuals. The lowest bone density is actually Asians. However, as far as a rate of injury and problems within the skeletal system within Asian people, they have a lot lower occurrence of injury. Main reason being, anatomically, they are built differently. You look at the Asian weightlifters in the Olympics versus the Russian weightlifters, completely built differently. Short guys, stocky guys, posturally, they are completely different. There's that kind of famous stereotype of the women geishas in Asia and their kind of little short shuffly steps walking through, narrow hips, kind of built like a rectangle. Whereas we look at Caucasian women, we've got that pear shape, wide hips within tall torso. This is something that does change. So based on your heritage, based on your genetic background, everything like that, your posture, your anatomy, your skeletal system is going to be completely different. So the one thing that we can do to help with the osteoporosis, osteopenia, any kind of bone calcification problems that we run into is vitamin D. That is the number one thing I want you guys to take home from whatever you want to call this talk, lecture, seminar, anything. Vitamin D supplementation. Vitamin D in fairly high doses is not just something that works as a hormone entrapment, which is essentially what happens when skin is exposed to the sun. Vitamin D produces through and actually has musculoskeletal effects. So most of you guys will probably remember that famous Anderson Silva fight where he kicked the guy and his shin completely snapped in two. And you guys remember that guy, Kevin Ware, from my old team, University of Louisville, formerly one of my athletes, jumped up in the NCAAs and fell down and like completely snapped. We all remember that. Both those guys had low vitamin D levels. We look into that. We look at the Black individuals. They have a higher bone density, but both these athletes trained inside. They weren't exposed out to the sun. They have a lower production of vitamin D. So making sure we supplement vitamin D as Caucasian individuals, 1. 2, if you have darker colored eyes, so blue and green versus brown, darker colored eyes limit the uptake and the absorption of vitamin D. So a slightly higher dosage if you have darker eyes. So somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 IUs a day. This is something that if you guys do want to start supplementing, though, probably the numbers I would start writing down is the 5,000 to 7,000. If you have blue eyes, somewhere lower around 4,000 to 5,000, because your body actually uptakes that vitamin D fairly well. Now, as far as sources of food goes, fatty fish and mushrooms, those are your 2 highest sources of vitamin D. Fun fact about mushrooms, you can keep them in the fridge, you can do whatever with them. If you put them outside in the sun, in direct sun for 30 minutes before preparing them, cooking them, eating them, they will double their vitamin D uptake and absorption into your body. So mushrooms as a fungus can still produce vitamin D even in sunlight after they've been cultured and cultivated. So increasing fatty fish and mushrooms is one of the easiest ways to up your vitamin D. Now, I personally uptake my vitamin D over the winter. I spend a lot of my time in the summer in shorts and t-shirt outside in the sun. I have a fairly good vitamin D. As far as in the winter goes, we're a lot more covered. We're a lot more susceptible to illnesses, ailments, all that kind of stuff. So supplementing vitamin D periodically through the year, not necessarily the full time through the year, is one of the biggest recommendations that I can make as far as what to increase within your diet, as far as having full body health. Within vitamin D as well, it works as an immunological function. So it does help your immune system ramp up, and it can help fight off ailments and diseases, especially this time of year with flu season, cold season, and this pandemic that we're finally hopefully getting through right now. So within that, I figured the next part to go on to after bone would be skin. What happens as we age, skin loses its elasticity, becomes a little more inflexible, it darkens quicker, we get aging spots. What can we really do about skin? Not a huge amount. So if you're a little vain, start doing face care early on in life. Start the face scrub, start exfoliating, get your pumice stone out, all that kind of crap. Outside of that, there's not much I can tell you guys about skin. Collagen is one of the one things that is pumped out nonstop about supplementation. Every collagen research paper that I dug into to get into this was all supported and funded by collagen manufacturers. I couldn't find a single research study that was not funded or supported by a collagen manufacturer. So I don't know how accurate the research is on actual collagen supplementation. Within collagen supplementation, we can go fish sources, animal sources, plant sources. I have no idea what those are. So that is me being completely honest with you guys. If you want to work on your skin, start a routine, go and get a facial, do what you got to do. Okay. So after that, skeletal muscle attaches obviously to the skeleton. So your skeletal muscle is everything essentially that we can move: face, arms, legs, torso. We don't have control of the intestine. That is a smooth muscle. We don't have control of that, and we don't have control of the heart. If we did, we'd have to think a lot more, and we'd probably fuck our bodies up a lot worse than what they already are. So within aging, lean body mass decreases over time. This is solely a factor of hormones and inability to work out. Okay, so lean mass comes from the exercise, the tear down of muscle to form it, to break down, and then come back stronger and leaner and more powerful. If you think about your muscle like one of those long sausage balloons, you try and blow that thing up out of the packet, it doesn't really go. You kind of have to prep the cells and stretch it out a little bit before you can even attempt to blow it up. The muscles do the same thing, which is why if we take some time off of working out, of exercising, anything like that, and we come back into it, we get way sorer than what we should have done, or we get way sorer than what we have been in the past. Reason is the muscle breaks down a lot further and it has a lot more to build back up because your body is not used to that process. So Within those hormones, within this male group, the main two sex hormones that we talk about is testosterone and growth hormone. Something that we can look at as far as hormone replacement therapy, we can look at as far as supplementation, and we can look at as far as dietary restrictions. Within testosterone, test builds up in mass amounts of working out, in low levels of stress, so low cortisol stress levels, high levels of working out in an underfeeding phase. So you can build testosterone up if you work out on an empty stomach and you do it through a fasted phase. The problem with that is you do not build the muscle back up, because growth hormone works in the complete opposite. Growth hormone that makes you bigger works in an overfeeding phase. So we can play around with testosterone and growth hormone based on whether we work out fasted, whether we work out eating. However, again, like I said, there's 20 of you guys on this. I don't know each of you individually. I don't know your hormone profiles. The one thing I would recommend is if you're at that age and you start feeling lean mass starting to drop down, fat mass starting to build up, go and get a hormone panel done. Get your test levels checked out, get your adrenal levels checked out, get everything checked out as best you can. That is going to give you the best idea of what you can physically do. Hormone panels can be a basic spit test or a blood test. Super, super simple. So diet and exercise, again, can't really do much about lean mass until we look at the hormones. As far as fat mass goes, that's one thing that everyone starts to complain about once they hit about that age of 35. Most people go through what we call second puberty. Everyone goes through first puberty at 13 to 15. We start to develop, sex hormones develop, all that kind of stuff. 35 is when we hit second puberty. Some people break out in full body acne. Some people put on fat mass just like that while keeping the same diet. Some people can't put that same muscle on. So that is exactly what's happening within that fat mass. Fat gets two different ways to increase. We can increase fat size. So a single fat cell can increase in size and swell and build, or we can build up the number of fat cells themselves. This is why after you do a crash diet for 2 weeks and you feel really good and you look really good, and then you go back to eating shit and partying for 3 days, you come back and you can never get those numbers back. Why? Because your body's actually put on cell numbers and not just increased cell size. As soon as you increase that number, you can't get rid of that number. The only way you can get rid of a cell number is liposuction. Takes the entire fat cell out. When we increase fat cell size, we can actually reduce that down. So that's where we start to build through the year. We can go harder workouts, lighter workouts, but as long as we stay stable through the year, fat mass is going to stay a little more stable. Within fat mass, we're going to talk about more of like the GI and actually what's going on actually at the fat level. So we talk about, where's my notes at? There it is. So within the digestive section, we've got the esophagus, drops down into the stomach, stomach drops down into the intestines. Peristalsis is a movement of basically the esophagus squeezing and pushing food down into the stomach. As we get older, that does not work. It works a lot less, so that peristaltic movement starts to slow down. Same thing happens within the intestine. So food doesn't travel at the speed through the intestine at what it has done before. What this means is the body is able to take away more nutrients, but because it's being held in the gut longer, it draws more water in. That water causes some of the fat to metabolize through. And then what does your body do when it's a free-form fat in the intestine and you're not doing anything with it? Oh shit, guys, I can hold on to this fat and store it for energy for a long, long time. Okay. So being able to stabilize that fat basis and keeping digestion working and mobile your entire life is one of the biggest things you can do. If you have dietary problems, if you know there's a certain type of food, or that you start to get a little swollen or bloated, or you've got gut cramps or gas or anything like that, I would highly recommend one of those basic swab tests to see what foods you're intolerant to. Really, really simple test. Easy ones are about 100 things on there. You can look at bases from dairy to meat to certain types of herbs and spices, eggs, all that kind of stuff. So within the digestive system, I would highly recommend you get a head start on figuring out exactly what you are good with, what you're not good with. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to lose a lot of respect on this. I'm vegan, not out of just being vegan. I'm vegan out of, I can't digest meat and I'm lactose intolerant. So my entire dietary routine changed about 8 years ago when I was 24. And I learned I was lactose intolerant and couldn't digest meat. And guess what you do as a former high-level swimmer? You eat 12,000 calories of shit a day, most of that being from animal product and dairy. Hey, guess what? It's not normal to have diarrhea every day for your entire 4 years of college. Not much fun. So getting a head start on that and learning what you're tolerant of and what you're not tolerant of is a huge thing within the GI tract. Around the GI tract as well, as far as talking about excretion, we talk about the kidneys. Kidneys, renal size, prostate gland, all that kind of stuff. As far as a men's group go, this is something that is very problematic. As we get older, we go from about a 500 to 600 mil capacity within your bladder to pee. At about age 60, it goes down 70% and it can be up to 250 mils before you have to pee. So renal size drops down, bladder size does drop down. This is not something that we can change with age. However, I am going to promote this out again. Make sure you get prostate checks done. You're a group of guys, you'll take your health seriously. That is one of the biggest things I can recommend out as far as renal health and prostate health and knowing exactly what's going on with the fluid systems in your body. Obviously, without fluids of a high dose of water in the body, all of our cells and all of our nutrients and minerals are too diluted that the body can't do anything through. In lower ends, if we're excreting too much, if we're just pissing everything out, we don't have those minerals in concentration and all the other systems within the body start to screw around. So those are the main aspects of the body that we really can't change too much of. Now, there are 3 aspects of the body that do change with age, but we can have a complete control over. First one is your posture and how you hold your body. Second is breathing and respiration. And third is your brain and your psychological state. No one thinks of brain and psychological training as part of physiology and age-defying health. We think that as more of the mental capacity, psychological counseling, that kind of thing. Not true at all. So I want to break down into the respiratory system first, because that's going to lead on to some of the posture and the other exercises I have afterwards. So breathing, simple motion. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, partial pressure reduces, air floods in through the mouth. Exhale, diaphragm collapses, everything comes out. We have 2 different variations of breathing. One is athletic-based, exercise-based, which is this top. Big chest breathing. The second we have is an innate factor, and this is how babies breathe. Belly breath. Drops down. Okay, so babies lack the ability to chest breathe. They don't have the musculature in their chest. They only know diaphragm. It is the one muscle in the body that runs to a nerve straight to the brain that we can either override or we can let it work automatically. So within the lungs, they're kind of shaped like big triangles up off each side. So you've got a larger area down here, smaller area up top. As a basic, diaphragmatic breathing, so this low belly breathing, creates about 2/3 of the oxygen transport within the lungs. Chest breathing reduces you down to about 1/3. So when you are told, right, take some deep breaths at the end of a workout or panicking or anything like that, what's the first thing that people do? Chest breathe. What does chest breathing do? It reduces our oxygen transfer down to 33%. So when we need that oxygen, we have this instinctive reflex to chest breathe. What is this from? This is from exercise. Your body is trying to physically take in more oxygen. Unfortunately, when we raise that chest up and take that big chest breath, you can see the rib cage kind of sinks in. Diaphragm raises up. So we lose that entire 2/3 of oxygen transport within the base of the abdominals. Now then, breathing mechanics. I want you guys to all try this right now. So one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. I want you to inhale through your nose and expand your belly forward and wide and not let this hand on your chest move. Just try 5 breaths. If you can feel that top hand moving, it means that we're thoracic breathing, we're chest breathing. So automatically we're reducing that down. All right, you guys can take hands off your chest and go from there. We're going to do a full breathing exercise at the end so as we can get into some of the actual mechanics. Now then, as far as actual breathing mechanics go, the way it should go is diaphragm activates first, so we get that full belly breath through. Then the chest activates and elevates against that diaphragm pressure, holding everything down. Chest drops then down, belly drops out. So breathing, as far as a mechanic goes, comes in 4 different waves. That diaphragm sits kind of up like a bucket and attaches to the base of your rib cage the whole of the way around your body. So when you breathe and you belly breathe, we're not just trying to breathe here, we're trying to breathe and expand through everything. Because why? If the diaphragm moves down, stuff has to move out of the way. We have all your stomach, your intestines, everything in this area. They can't just poke out the front. They have to physically shift the entire way around. So diaphragm is stimulated, diaphragm drops down and contracts, draws air in. To elevate the chest, we have to use a lot different muscles. So we've got these guys that run across the neck. You guys have all seen that long stringy muscle that runs down from the back of your ear down to your chest. That attaches to your collarbone. You've got another muscle back here that attaches to the backside of the shoulder and the rib cage. And then you've got all these tiny little muscles within the rib cage themselves. Anytime the diaphragm expands, the rib cage expands or elevates up, our nervous system starts to fire up. When the diaphragm expands, it's belly breathing, it's relaxing, it's chill, it's calm. As soon as we start to use the chest to breathe, heart rate increases, blood pressure increases, sweat rate increases, amount of urine increases, stress levels and cortisol increases, just from basic chest breathing. So we need to be able to change that around. Now, the reason I talked about this in age-defying health, as we age, between age 20 and 60, you have what's called residual volume within your lungs. So if everyone takes a full deep exhale and pushes as much air out of their lungs as they can, you've got about 20% of air still within your lungs. That's what stops your lungs completely collapsing. Between age 20 and 70, that residual volume left in your lungs goes up to 35%. So you have 35% of your original breath still left in your lungs at the end of that breath by age 70. That change is not based on volume of the lungs. It's not based on your nervous system. It's based on your body's ability to fully exhale and utilize all of the musculature within an exhale and within an inhale. So we can physically change your age-defying respiratory system, your lungs, as you get older, just by knowing how to breathe properly and how to take a full exhale. Because if we don't take a full exhale, we get this stagnant air stuck within the lungs. That then causes other problems within carbon dioxide, within oxygen, all that kind of stuff within the body. So we can change breathing just by mechanically training it. Those deep chest muscles that I was talking about that help lift the rib cage, that sternocleido runs from the ear to the front of the collarbone. When this gets too tight, head pulls forward. That's what that muscle does. When the rib cage expands, traps get very tight up in the top of the neck. So not only have we got the head to here, we also have the shoulders to here. That's rounding in the back. As soon as that rounds, what then happens at the diaphragm? Diaphragm can't physically activate and expand because everything's hunched in the middle. So not only does breathing over time mechanically wrong change your breathing and your oxygen transport, it changes posture. So what do we see is the most common posture within, one, young people right now with texting and internet, but two, within older people, head forward, rounded shoulders, collapsed over. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest problems that we have with elderly populations is no one is trained in breathing mechanics properly. If we can take oxygen into the body and we can cause a relaxing state to happen through any of this breathing, those muscles shouldn't build up and we should be able to maintain this tall, neutral posture. As soon as we maintain that, I see 5 of you guys start sitting up in your chair a little more now. So as soon as we neutralize that posture, spine then becomes even, hips become even. What's the most common surgery we have with elderly populations as far as orthopedic? Hip replacement and knee replacement. All of that can be identified out of changing this torso posture, okay? So within posture, we can look at it from the top side of the body and the bottom side of the body. The one thing that is in contact with the ground at most times during the day is your feet. Foot mechanics, I'm gonna go stand up and give you guys a quick demo on this one. So as far as the body goes, your body is stacked. Your ankle moves a full 360 degrees. Your knee does not. Your knee moves forward and backward. Your hip full 360 degrees. Your low back only moves forward and backward. Your upper back, 360, shoulder blade, side to side, 360, single direction, 360. So when we look at the joints of the body, we can transfer all of that postural awareness down to the 2 points that are in contact with the ground at the feet. So looking at foot health, looking at foot training and hip training is one of the biggest things that we can do concurrently to work on posture and to alleviate some of that breathing mechanism. I've got one exercise or 3 exercises that I want to pitch out to you guys, and you should all have a recording of this, but if anyone wants me to do like a private 5-10 minute video, I can send to Andy after the seminar's done and just show you this exercise too. All you need is some kind of rubber band. These are 8-inch mini bands. I get mine from Perform Better. You can grab them on Amazon. These are 3 different resistances. So the 3 exercises, you're going to put the band around the ankles. Andy knows these all too well and loves them so much. So your first one is a monster walk. You are going to sidestep, keeping the feet forward at 12 o'clock. The tendency on this one is to turn the feet out. What we're trying to do is stabilize the buttock muscles and stabilize the foot planting. What this does is transfer. So within that hip, the muscle that we're trying to fire, this glute, all it does is turn the leg out. That's all that muscle does. Your big glute max on top goes forward to back. Now then, if that muscle doesn't fire, the first thing that happens is the knees, instead of being pushed out, the knees buckle in. And that's when we see people that are knock-kneed. We see this in wide hip women too. What does that do into the knees? Puts pressure into the ACL. The ACL runs front to back, back to front. And when we turn that knee in, that ACL twists and puts pressure. So how do we relieve that pressure? Normally, we flick the tail. What happens in most guys as they get older, they spend most of their time at the desk. What feels better? Oh, I'm going to stretch that out and I'm going to walk. My knees drop in, low back pain starts to occur. So within just doing those band walks, you stabilize the hip, you stabilize the foot, the spine starts to stabilize, and we can maintain upright posture. So if there's one exercise you're going to take away from today, just like the vitamin D supplement, it is those bands around the ankle doing side to side stepping to get those glutes to fire. So breathing and posture. The final thing that we can change within the body is your brain. Psychologically speaking, I am not a psychologist. I am not a counselor. All of my research is about the application of the brain to the body. So within the brain and within the systems, everything is completely subjective. What one person feels and what one person views is always, every single time, going to be completely different. We can take 2 followers of the exact same religion, and they may have differing views on some things and how they view it and how they believe. Within the body and the brain, that is the exact same thing as well. So within the brain, you have 4 main stages of learning. You guys have probably heard a lot about this. The word incompetence is used and awareness is used, consciousness. So your first stage of learning, this happens from every step from a baby to the day we die. Your first stage of learning in the textbook is unconscious incompetence. I don't like the word incompetence because it just means that you can't fucking do it. I use the term unawareness. You have unconscious unawareness. What that means is you don't know something is wrong. You're unaware of something going on and you don't know it. So that phase is maybe I bring you guys into the gym or I'm talking about this. Some of this stuff you guys weren't aware of before, that is now implanted in your brain. So it's turned from unconscious unawareness. You don't know something and you don't know you're doing it wrong to you now know about it, but you're still doing it wrong. So within the body, I can take all of you guys and almost guarantee that everyone's done bench press at least once in their life. Everyone's done a bench or been under a dumbbell, that kind of thing. You may have 30 years of experience of doing that bench press. You come to me and I tell you one thing is wrong. That 30 years of you not knowing you're doing it wrong, you now know you're doing something wrong. So the brain starts to change. The brain starts to turn around. You now have the knowledge, but you don't have the skill level. After you hit that unconscious awareness, we then go into conscious awareness. We now know we're doing something right. We've made the changes, we've made the adaptation. So we now have a skill set and we're able to implement it, but it takes that forethought. It takes that conscious thinking about it. Finally, the longest step to get from is to the final stage of unconscious awareness. You don't know you're doing it right. You have the skill, but you don't have to worry about the conscious thought process of it. So within those 4 stages of learning, just like what we worked on with that breathing drill, 1 hand on the belly, 1 hand on the chest. Sure, 50% of you guys realize that, oh shit, I chest breathe. That turned from unconscious unawareness to conscious awareness. This is something biologically that you have been doing your entire life. And for this weird English guy to come on for 2 minutes and say, you're probably fucking this up for the previous part of your life, that's a big change. And that turns that psychosomatic system around, because this isn't just body control now. This is brain to body control. This is everything syncing up at the same time. Now then, within the stages of learning, we can apply that to a multitude of different things. That first stage of learning, the unconscious unawareness, doesn't necessarily mean you are always doing something wrong, but it could be a different technique. It could be a different style. If you guys are at work, it could be working with a different client. You're unaware that this person functions slightly differently. Could be with your kids. You don't know why your kid's crying. No one fucking does. So we talk about the different stages of learning. Now then, I'm not sure if Andy, you were able to send out my bio or anything. I named my facility Flow State Fitness. The reason for that is the flow state is that final stage of learning. It's that unconscious awareness. You don't know you're doing something right. It's become habit where you can just sync up and perform your task as necessary. That is my basis of the flow state. However, you do get people in that negative flow state as well, that get to that point that they can do something. Andy, your brother is a prime example of this. They get to the point that they can do something and it feels so good and they don't have to worry about it. They can just tune off and they do it too much. Happens to a lot of runners. You start the season out, you feel good. 2 days later, you go for a 20-mile run. You've overdone it. You felt good in that space, but you've over pushed that part of the body. So being able to tailor that flow state and that unconscious awareness down is very, very important as far as knowing where you are within the brain. So when we start working on the breathing stuff at the end of this session, your brain is going to be fighting your instinct. You now know that you're probably doing something wrong. You have 2 choices to make. You can either utilize the cues and develop and try and harness that and build and step by step and get it better. Or you can say, fuck it, no, I'm good right here. I might think about this every now and then and just kind of take a deep breath. But for the most part, you want to be building and progressing that stage of learning. Now, this is something that I put together. I'm going to have to use my paper. Can all of you guys see my whiteboard fairly well? Thumbs up. Yeah, beautiful. So when we look at the brain and how the brain processes information, we're going to draw just a basic graph and through. So on the left-hand side, we have challenge. This is the challenge level at what you're about to perform. So that could be you taking your bike down the street for a nice easy ride, or you going down one of the ski slopes on a downhill track. That is a level of challenge. It's 2 of the same exercises, but it's a different challenge level. On the bottom, you have skill. That is your physical ability. That is your mental ability to overcome any kind of challenge. Within those, if we look at this base part, so this is our center at a 0.5 and a 0.5. If we look at the base level, low challenge, low skill. Psychologically, the brain goes to this state of kind of apathetic. We're not really worried. It's not really taxing. I can get through it. So most people in low skill, low challenge end up apathetic. Now then, if we keep the skill level the same, but we up the challenge level, instinctively, the brain gets worried. So within this next section, we have worry. combination of some of the aspects of apathy, but building up into this higher level challenge that we might not feel we're ready for. Now, if the challenge level is super high and our skill level is super low, we get anxiety. Now, the prime example of this in business world is you are going in for a first interview with a company that you don't really know much about. You don't know the questions that are come at you. You might feel prepared, but your skill level is fairly low. That is going to put most people up in this anxiety section. The same thing happens when you go to a gym for a first time, or you take your partner to a gym, or you have a new training partner. That challenge level may be a little bit too high versus what your level of skill is. So psychologically, you're putting yourself and your partner in this anxiety level already. After anxiety, when we build our skill level up a little bit, we get more into this arousal phase. So arousal happens at multiple different levels. Most people think of arousal as far as sexual arousal, which is absolutely fine. That is one of the main components. However, within arousal, the main things you guys would have heard is fight and flight, right? We get aroused, we get that big adrenaline dump, we have a fight and flight response. There are two other responses to arousal. We have fight, flight, freeze, and then fuck. So fight, flight, and freeze. Fight, you stand up and you fight because something's coming at you. Flight, you fucking run as far as you can. Freeze, someone that's scared of snakes or spiders, you sit. If I don't move, it can't hurt me. Fuck is the only different one. Fuck releases the same hormones, the same adrenaline, but you're not actively in danger. So you're not thinking, right, I've just had sex, I've got to go and run from this lion now. You can get into that passive, relaxing state. So that's where arousal occasionally becomes too high. You've gotten to that point where you feel nervous about something, you get a little of that anxiety, you get a little ramped up and ready to go, and then you kind of crash out afterwards. It's a little too much arousal, it's a little too much stimulation. And that's what can happen within that phase as well. Now, if we go to the opposite end of the extreme, down at the bottom, we have a moderate skill level, but low challenge. This is boredom. This is where most people sit in workouts. Why? How many of you actually upregulate your workouts every 3 to 4 weeks and give your body a new challenge level? Very few people do. Once we get a workout, we kind of stick with it because we know that's what we like and we know that's what's good for us. The body doesn't realize that. The body starts to plateau out, as does the brain. So that boredom level really starts to kick in. And this is those day-to-day monotonous tasks. Mine is vacuuming my floor in the gym. I can't stand it. I've got a lot more skill than that, and it's really low challenge and it's really fucking boring. I don't like doing it. So within that boredom phase, we then move around into being relaxed. This is when we have a really high skill level, but we have a really low challenge output. So understanding that you can put yourself into that relaxed phase by just lowering the challenge level, or you can change it and up the challenge level. So if you feel relaxed going into a workout, or you feel relaxed getting home for the day and you've got shit to do, you've got to change that challenge level. You've got to challenge that matrix up the side to try and shift your emotion down from that area up to a different area. When we have moderate skill and moderate challenge, we're content. We all feel pretty good about it. We feel pretty good about where we are. The final stage, and this is the negotiating one. This is why I named my facility this, because this is the highest point of skill and the highest point of challenge that you can hit, and that is flow. Your flow state is an equal challenge versus an equal skill level. Now then, this book is about 20 years old. When was this published? This came out in 1990. So this is 21 years old now. No, I'm way off. 30 years old. This is called Flow. This is by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. I can't pronounce his name. I'll show you guys up there a little easier. Now then, his basis of flow states, it is the theory of optimal experience and the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at great cost for the sheer sake of doing it. That flow state is a mental state and a physical state. This is what most of us as individuals hope to be able to attain in any aspect of our life. When we go to work, we want to finish our day at work thinking, man, I got a lot of shit done today. And that flew by. We want to be there. We want to go for a run and go and run up one of the 14ers here in Denver and be, shit, I just spent 8 hours on the mountain. I didn't even need to think or play music. We all want to be able to get to that state. What more than likely happens is that challenge level. We don't know what the challenge is, and we can make this challenge anything. This could be an emotional aspect of you going home and having an argument with your significant other. The challenge could be emotionally, you had the longest day and you've got to get home and take the dog out for a walk in the rain and snow. That is a challenge. Your skill level never changes, but how you adapt to that challenge does. Most emotions of how you feel and what you feel through a workout, through the day, through work, through life, through being with your partners, whatever, those emotions, for the most part, show up on that board, or some variation you can plot your brain and your body around on that board. So what is one of the biggest things that we do not do as we age? We don't adapt ourselves. We don't adapt our workouts. We have to continuously apply new challenge or change challenge to every aspect of what we do day to day. The one that we're going to do today is the breathing. Then most of you guys, you're going to be in this boredom round. Skill level, you know you guys can breathe. You've been doing it your entire fucking life. The challenge level is probably going to be quite low. But I'm going to use a different color pen now. If we break those 4 stages of learning that I talked down to start with, we can put those on these boards and start to understand different aspects of where we're at physically. So the top corner, coming through arousal, anxiety, and worry. Unconscious unawareness. You don't know you're doing something wrong. You lack the skill and the challenge is very, very high. So you have that unconscious unawareness up in that top corner. We then move into conscious unawareness. We now know, we have the skill, we've got the knowledge about it, but we don't have the proficiency to make it work. So that drops us down into here. So this is our conscious unawareness. We now know that we're doing something wrong. Within that, we've got some of that boredom, we've got some of that apathy, some of that worry. Why? Because mentally, we know we're probably a little more skilled than that, but we're learning a new skill. So when you introduce a new member into your workforce, or when you introduce a new exercise into your routine, skill-wise, you know you've got to change something. But your adaptability, your body's adaptability and your brain's adaptability haven't quite reached that point yet. After that, we go into that bottom right section, which is our conscious awareness. We have to think about doing something right. So we might get a little bored, because we have to think about it. It's repetitive. You guys have been breathing for the last however old you are, many years. To change that is going to take a long time on a basic biological function that you do thousands of times a day. So you might get a little bored. Some people might find it quite relaxing to tone everything down. Some people might be quite content with it. That final stage is that unconscious awareness. We know we're doing something right. We might be a little aroused. We might be a little content, but for the most part, we can stick to that brain range of flow. So within those stages of learning, I think the biggest thing that I want to pass on to you guys with that is your brain and body's ability to be flexible. We talk about flexibility and strength and conditioning, like reaching down and touching your toes, that kind of thing. I'm not talking about flexibility with that. I'm talking about your brain's ability to say, right, I'm going to change this right now. Or I'm going to try this new diet and see how it feels. I'm going to try this new workout. I'm going to try and be a little happier. It takes a lot of focus and thought, but your brain and body's ability to be flexible is quite a challenge. Why? We're humans. We're creatures of habit. We thrive on social construct. We thrive on routine. We thrive on things not being just winged at us. We thrive on not having to run away from lions and be chased in the middle of the night anymore. So your brain's ability to be flexible and your body's ability to be flexible, not in the traditional term, is very, very important for your age-defying health. The main reason of that is cortisol. You've all heard of the hormone cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It is released in high doses of stress. Now then, Paleolithic prehistoric me versus modern day 2021 me. There's a lot different stress levels back in the day. Humans have adapted and evolved, and we still have that stress response. So cortisol, when it is released, is a stress hormone that basically stops any non-essential functions. So when you get very stressed, your body releases cortisol, sex drive drops, hunger, satiation drops, your body's ability to relax and calm down drops, your ability to calm your mind's chatter drops. That's a lot different when we're trying to escape a predator, when the basis of cortisol is for you to run away, hide in a tree, sleep for 2 hours, keep your eyes open periodically, get up and run away again. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have that body's innate ability to just say, nope, let's stop this cortisol right now. The only way we can do that is by lowering stress. And I promise, if you can use this mini infographic as a basis of where your emotions lie and where your skill level and challenge level lies within life, I can almost guarantee that you will find yourself a lot happier just in knowing where psychologically and physiologically you lay on this chart. So that's enough about that. And I know we're getting towards the end now, so I want to finish off with this breathing exercise. So just going to ask you guys, get yourself comfy, set up nice and tall in your chair. I want everyone's eyes to be shut. You are not going to have your eyes open for this. I'm going to try and talk as calmly and chill as I can. So first thing, we need to prep. That's exactly right, Andy. Big ol' yawn. So we need to prep the body first. The main preparation is in the basis of the mouth and the nose. So keeping your mouth lightly closed and your lips gently sealed, I want you to move the tip of the tongue towards the front of your mouth, sitting right behind your teeth. Lowering the backside of your tongue down, I want you to imagine there is a golf ball in the back of your mouth. It's an invisible golf ball, and you can feel its presence in the back of your mouth and throat. Your throat is relaxed. When you relax the throat, I want you to now drop the shoulders down. Release the tension from the neck. You guys may feel a little tightness coming from the backside of the neck and into the chest in doing so. Keeping the tongue towards the front of the mouth, I want you to gently inhale through the nose. As the air passes over the back of the throat, I want you to feel a light circulation of warm air around that golf ball in the back of the throat before it follows down the chest into the lungs. Keeping that space in the jaw and keeping the space between the shoulders and the neck. On the next inhale, I want you to imagine drawing the diaphragm down from the base of the rib cage and expanding your belly in a full 360-degree motion around your entire midsection. So if you had a belt on that was around your belly button line, you could feel the belly expanding both backwards, sideways, and forwards through the entire aspect of it. Keeping the breath controlled, I now want you to play with a 4-second inhale, 0-second pause, 4-second exhale. The way I want you to view this is like a swinging door or a pendulum. There is no definitive stop at the top, and there is no definitive stop at the bottom. It is a gentle wave, just like in a mathematics graph, a parabolic wave, gently moving up, hitting its peak, and low, slowly moving down. Now, we're going to keep the chest aspect out of this. What I now want you to visualize is when you take the next inhale, the breath passes over the back of the throat. It goes down the back of the spine, sits underneath your intestines and belly, and then rounds out the front of the belly as big and as wide as you can physically make it. On the exhale for the 4 seconds, to get the final second, I want you to contract the abdominals as tight and as hard as you can and force that last little gasp of air out. What I do not want is on that gasp for you to hold that exhale. I want it to be a full pressurized abdominal contraction to get that exhale. Then from that contraction, release the abdominals and use that diaphragm to draw the air out and through. We hear a lot in yoga and meditation. I want you to breathe into your low back. This is exactly what this means. Now, keeping with the breathing, 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds out, exhale. In through the nose, passes over the golf ball in the back of the throat, draws down the spine, activates into the belly. Now, what I'm doing right now, while you guys keep breathing, is I'm giving you guys mental cues. Because if I just said sit and breathe for 2 minutes, your chimp brain, your mind chatter is going to start talking to you. You're going to start thinking about what's for dinner. You're going to start thinking about work the next day. Giving yourself these basic breathing cues. So, golf ball in the back of the mouth, shoulder space away from the neck. Air passes back down the spine, opens through the belly, gentle rise, gentle fall like a pendulum. There is no top, there is no bottom. It is a continuous motion. If visualizing a pendulum helps you, work with it. If visualizing a mathematics graph of just raising up and down helps you, go with it. Give your brain something to focus on the most innate biological response that your body can physically go through, which is breathing. And you guys can open your eyes. So within that, calming the mind chatter, giving yourself something to focus on, and giving the body these different internalized and externalized cues. So notice I used golf ball. I also used throat. So it's an external cue and an internal cue. Some will work for some people, some will not. Being able to keep that mind chatter down is one of the easiest things that you can do to work on an aspect like that, like breathing. Now, biggest problem I have when people get panic attacky, just like I said earlier, everyone comes up to you, right? Just breathe, just relax. And we get into that. Well, that's not taking our mind off it. It's just letting our body override. We're now trying to take control of the brain and take control of this responsiveness of the body that we can control or we can let override. None of us think about breathing when we sleep. None of us think about breathing when we're watching TV. This is something we can take control of, and it is a mechanism and can be trained, just like every other aspect of the body. And that is me done. I wanted to end that note as just like a little kind of cut through, just so as you guys can think about it, and then we just call it, and your minds can go and wander and think about everything.
Awesome.
Sweet, Luke. Thanks so much for running through that the way you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry it took a little longer. Does anyone have questions or anything that they want to shoot out? I know we're right at the end of time.
If we have questions, that come up after we kind of process this kind of stuff, is there a way that we can reach out to you?
So
And send
Andy
you
has my contact information.
Okay.
If anyone has questions, why don't you shoot them all to Andy? He
Okay.
can send me a list, and I can either do a mini video or I can do a write-up on some stuff and send some of this stuff through. That graph that I drew up on the board, I can also send a full PDF aspect through. This one's even fancy colors, because colors apparently show emotions as well. That was new to me. I found a new book on colors and emotions. So yeah, if you guys want anything, if you have questions, anything like that, feel free to reach out to Andy, and he can shoot that stuff directly over to me, and I can help you guys out as best way I can.
It's like Adam's got something now. You want to go, Adam?
Yeah, I was curious about the phosphates that you talked about at the beginning. You said a lot of the phosphates are in these dark colored liquids, those sodas. I'm sure those dark, wonderful, delicious beers that we love. And but I wanted to ask about coffee.
Coffee is colored based on the tannins. Coffee is not based on the phosphates within. Now, what we do know within coffee is it is one, a diuretic, so it makes you lose water. But two, what we know within coffee as a caffeine supplement, and this is something I didn't have time to touch on, caffeine is a stimulant. Caffeine upregulates every aspect of the body. So within caffeine, as far as the negotiation of calcium versus phosphorus, it doesn't speed any of that aspect up. The problem that you're going to run into with caffeine, and this is something that not many people are aware of, is caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. So after you drink 2 cups of coffee in the morning at 9 a.m., at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you still have the equivalent of 1 cup of coffee of caffeine in you. Why does the body not process that? And why is the brain still not active at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Because our nervous system is wiped and it's already stimulated enough with that caffeine. It's the rest of the body that starts to drop down. So caffeine will not cause bone density problems. However, caffeine after a workout can increase the thermogenic effect of fat burning. Prior to a workout can stimulate you to build up a little higher intensity workout. However, caffeine prior to and during a workout can negate the amount of lean muscle mass that you can actually put on. Makes the body move a little too fast and a little too upregulated in that stimulation and muscle recovery are 2 different aspects. So for your body to break it down and to build back up, that caffeine works a little differently and it's 2 different energy systems within the body. So I hope that answers about the phosphate.
Hey, Luke,
I have a quick
I have a
question.
question for you. You talked about a hormone panel and an intolerant test. Do you recommend any companies to do that?
I
or-
do not. A lot of different states and areas run different ones. Some of my preferred, just out of my basis of what I know my body likes and dislikes, I typically would recommend to go and see a naturopathic doctor about it. A doctor, a regular doctor, GP, they're going to run the same hormone panel, but when you're lacking on certain things, they're going to make recommendations based on what kind of chemicals we can give you, what kind of drugs we can get. And the main basis of that is how much money can we claim through insurance to get you there. Whereas a naturopathic doctor is genuinely going to look at the integration between 2 different types of food, if there's any correlation. Doctors go through about as much training in dietitian work as an undergrad college student does. Naturopathic doctors and homeopathic doctors, nutritionists, dietitians, they go through 6 full years of just that. So I would recommend you either go to a naturopathic doctor or a dietitian or nutritionist to get a sensitivity screen done. As far as hormone panels go, if you are absolutely fine with aspects of your health information and that kind of stuff being put out to doctors, go for it. If you want a little more discreet variation that you don't necessarily want your significant other to know about, if you plan on increasing your testosterone or something like that, Quest Diagnostics do a full male hormone panel testing. It's all discreet. You just book in online. It doesn't go through your doctor. You get the results there and there the next day or 48 hours later after they process. It sends through to your email and phone. So as far as a hormone panel goes, that's completely your call based on whether you want a little more discretion to keep away from family or whether you're okay with the family doctor kind of knowing all about it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
I have a quick follow-up on that. So would you recommend going to a naturopathic doctor after you get the hormone panel? Like, who would help us interpret those results?
So the naturopathic doctor would be able to process some of that, as would a regular doctor. If you go through Quest Diagnostics, it pretty much tells you what the normal rates are. As far as if you're low, high, average, that kind of thing, it's all going to process through and give a full data printout. As far as making adjustments, if you're looking for more of the actual hormone replacement therapy supplementation route, doctors are going to be the best way to go with that. Some naturopathic doctors aren't licensed to practice medical basis in certain states, but they can practice as far as nutrition, awareness, movement, that kind of stuff. So it's more so on your preference of what kind of route you think you're going to go. As far as any panel that comes through, whoever performs it should be able to give you a run through of what the results actually mean.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah.
Quick one. I probably can already assume the answer since you said vitamin D is associated with the sun. Should we eat those in the morning, and do we eat it with food, or doesn't it matter with the supplement?
So I can talk anecdotally about vitamin D in that I suffered from some bone issues when I was going through college as a swimmer. It's not a weight-bearing sport, so I had some bone density issues within my joints. I started supplementing 8,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, which was a recommendation based on the doctor. It ruined my gut. I took it for 2 weeks and I had nothing but stomach cramps, diarrhea, and just intestinal upset for 2 weeks. I dropped it down to 5,000, not with the doctor knowing, but just on myself, and I was actually able to get through it. I didn't personally find that taking it with food or water or an empty stomach or anything like that helped, because most of the transport is going to happen in the actual intestinal level. Any type of food you take with medication is going to be digested in the stomach and try and break down that way. Vitamin D won't be taken in until it gets to the intestine, because it's typically an oil base, and oils don't get digested until they actually reach the intestine. They don't get digested in the stomach. The bile duct is released after the stomach transfer. So after food processes in the stomach, it exits, bile duct releases, and that's when you can start to process the fat. So I would say on that question, play with it a little bit. Play with taking it with food, play with taking it without food, play with water, play with orange juice. It might help one way or another. You might find you're absolutely fine just throwing it in with vitamins in the morning. Now, because vitamin D is hormone precursor, I would recommend taking it in the evening, assuming that you don't notice it keeps you awake at night, because it can play around with some of the energy-based hormones as far as metabolic energy goes, and as far as growth hormones. So play around with it, but my recommendation would be to take a vitamin D in the evening. That way, when your body processes it, you're sleeping, and your body's actually going to try and use that nutrient and mineral to recover and help itself overnight when your body's at its peak rest time. That answer your question, Andy?
Yeah.
Thanks, Luke. That was very informative, and yeah, just very dense. I can tell you that you know your stuff.
There's a lot of information there, and I tried to keep it as kind of basic intro type stuff as I can, but again, it is a lot of information, and it puts you guys back within that kind of now conscious unawareness. You now know that there's some stuff going on. It's going to take a little while to process before you realize that you can actually take control over some of this stuff. So taking small things at a time. So the big key points from this is 1, the band walks, 2, vitamin D, and 3, knowing psychologically where you are emotionally in relation to a task.
Nice.
So if you can take those 3 things away, I had a 4th thing written down, which was a 2-minute ice shower every morning after your regular shower. Some of you guys that have read into like Wim Hof and the Iceman and that kind of stuff, it's a very prolific practice. It calms panic response. It increases brown fat metabolism within the back, which is your baby fat that we all retain onto. And it calms through the breathing and allows the body to actually invigorate and wake up through the nervous system as opposed to through a stimulant. So if we want to throw a 4th thing in, up to a 2-minute ice cold shower, focusing the shower head right on the back of your neck and skull. Why? Because that's where your respiratory control center is. That's where your body processes your lungs and your breathing, and all the nerves run into the backside of the head. You guys have all been through that point where you get splashed with cold water and your first response is panic gasp. That's exactly what's going to happen. And your goal when you turn that shower on cold is to not ramp those shoulders up and take that big chest breath. Why? Because we know we get no oxygen. We know we ramp the heart rate up and we send the body into shock. Forcing the shoulders down, forcing belly breaths, and controlling that motion in an ice shower can really help with some of this stuff too.
Cool.
So vitamin D, band walks, headspace, take a cold shower.
Awesome.
That's good stuff. Real quick too, Luke, I actually had a question on Andy's to piggyback a little bit with that vitamin D. I was taking a lot of vitamin supplements about 6 months ago, and I was feeling really good with it, but I noticed they were chewable. They were like all these chewable vitamins. And then after several months, I started looking at the sugar, the amount of sugar in those vitamins. And I was like, wow, I'm taking in like 25 grams of sugar just in my daily supplements.
That is, and do you know why that is?
Well, I thought they were chewable to help with the digestion, you know, so that you didn't have to eat a meal with it, or, you know, it was just kind of like in America, quick fixes. It was just like an immediate thing where we didn't have to meal prep with the vitamins. But I mean, I don't know if that was, I stopped taking vitamins altogether, and vitamin D especially, because I just don't know.
So you're 50% right. you're 50% right on the it helps with digestion just having a little sugar. Like you guys will take like a ibuprofen or something on an empty stomach and it just wreaks havoc on your gut. So the sugar does help with that digestion. That's another point. If you supplement protein powders or BCAAs for muscle mass, you need to take those in with a little bit of sugar just because that helps regulate the BCAA intake into the body. But back onto the vitamin and supplement. When do most people take their vitamins?
Morning.
First thing in the morning, before they brush their teeth, before they go and have a cup of coffee and start eating. What's the first thing you're now putting in your body in the morning? Sugar. What are you going to crave the next morning when you wake up? Sugar. What's going to happen when you're out of your 30 morning sugar pills? You're going to buy 30 more morning sugar pills. It's marketing. It's smart. If you can get someone addicted to a good thing by having a bad thing in it, we don't care about negating the good thing. We're just worried about making money and taking more in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm so glad to hear you say that. So what are your recommendations? Should we just go for like this, you know,
So give me 2 seconds to grab something out my fridge. 2 seconds.
You scared him off, Brandon.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So if you guys, I take all of my supplementation in liquid form, dropper form, that kind of thing. So this one is L-campaign. This is a respiratory system anti-mucal agent. Rhodiola, which is naturally used in Eastern approach to medicine. It's kind of that old school vitality, health, and wellness. It's just an upregulator. It's not too much of a stimulant, but it does assist. And then I take a mineral blend. Again, it's all liquid, so I dissolve everything into water. I don't take anything with caplets. I don't take anything in pill form, and I try and avoid most things that are synthetic for me personally, just out of I like a little more of a natural approach. Certain companies are going to broadcast it out as far as this is all organic and da da da. Great, good for you. If it works for your body, go for it. If it doesn't work for your body, don't go for it. Everything I'm telling you guys is subjective. You can choose to use the information. You can choose to not use the information. And it's going to be solely based on what you personally want. I'm not here today to market one single thing. I'm not here to push a certain workout. Like I said in my caveat at the start, I'm not an NSCO coach for this last hour and 20 minutes. So finding something like that and looking at the sugar content and that kind of thing, maybe just look around. You might find one brand of one thing that you particularly like the look of and the feel of, and one brand of a different thing. And you might want to mix and match and play around with that. But I think on that point, like I said, I recommend droppers and liquid caps of most things. It's easier to take on, it's easier to digest, and you don't have this mass gut bomb of this one vitamin and mineral like you would from a cellulose caplet that doesn't digest until it hits the intestine. And once that breaks down, everything's released at the same time. You get this massive dump. With liquids, you get a little bit of digestion in the mouth because you have enzymes in the mouth, a little digestion in the stomach, a little in the intestine. Does that answer your question?
Perfectly. Yep.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, thank you, Luke. This has been a really interesting presentation. We got a lot of really good takeaways. I took a bunch of notes too, guys. So if anybody wants them, I'm happy to post them on the Slack channel. And we'll reach out to you with additional questions we have, but good questions, guys. Andy, do you want to kind of close it off before, and are you going to stick around with us, Luke? Or are you going to, do you have something else?
I'm done for the day. I can stick around. How much longer are you guys going to be?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to do like continue the conversation and do some like kind of crowdsourcing wisdom amongst the guys for the next 20 minutes. And then we'll go into like administrative stuff. So if you're
what
welcome
I'll do
to
then is I'm just going to remove the spotlight on me and turn my mic off, and I'll listen in for as long as I can. And then I'll just text Andy when I'm going to shoot off.
Cool. Spotlight is removed.
Andy.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just jump in real quick. There's been a few times when I've asked Luke questions like this, like, hey, I just got done reading Game Changers. What should I do with this, this, and this? And he's like, first off, fix the basics before you start going nuts on all this, quote, biohacking. So that's something that really stuck with me that he said. Another thing, and he didn't ask me for any plugs. If you're hurt or injured, he's in Cherry Creek. I can't recommend him enough on on therapy and getting better with stuff. So he's great. But yeah, I guess Charlie, what do you want to do after this? You want to do like crowdsourcing and we all just kind of talk on what's worked within the group?
Yeah, I think like we could probably put 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes into just a conversation. If anybody has any particular, I mean, there was obviously some key things that stood out of Luke's presentation, like just basic exercising for heart health increases longevity, so exercising obviously is one that we all know contributes to age-defying health, but we want to kind of put it out there with the group, like, does anybody here have any particular hacks that have really increased their body's health, their ability to heal, where you felt like you're feeling more energy? That came up a couple times. Like, is there anything in your life that's really increased your energy level that's been natural that you've used that you can share with the guys? We can just crowdsource some wisdom here for the next 10 minutes or something. I see Adam's hand is like up, like he's ready to high five life, like as he always does. So yeah, what little nuggets of wisdom, starting with Adam, that people have to share, and we can always continue this conversation later, but we'll start it right now. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I actually just want to ask how the nutrition challenge went and the results from that. I know Travis went real deep there, and a lot of you guys did too. So just give us some feedback there.
Travis, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. I thought it was great. I piggybacked it on top of a challenge that we had at our gym, the CrossFit gym. And we tracked our macros, our calorie intake, and the food. We didn't go that deep in our challenge. It was just like share what you want to accomplish for the week and then be acknowledged for that, and then just consistently declare it on Mondays. But for me personally, I did the challenge in the gym, like got macros and all that stuff. I actually did more like a fat-based diet. And then when I talked to a nutritionist that gave me some other recommendations, I moved things around and had a huge breakthrough around like what my body works with, like in performing in the CrossFit gym. Had some really awesome just energy and feeling and just everything, just by shifting my nutrition and really looking at my macros. Like that made a huge difference for me. And I train with Mark Jeffries at the same gym, and like I don't know, he's there probably like 3, 4, or 5 days a week. Same for me, unless I'm out in the mountains or whatever. And I don't know, like I think the consistency of having a scheduled gym, a partner that you're like texting with and being accountable with, a group. And then the last thing that like occurred to me more recently was just like really looking at the nutrition, like looking at the fuel that's going into my body, and then the output that's going to happen in performing. Measuring.
Yeah. So Travis, you're saying like keep like getting aware of it, sort of like what Luke was talking about, because you don't know what you don't know, and becoming aware of it was one big thing. And then creating accountability structures and scheduled exercise would be another huge thing. And I think all of us can understand the importance of accountability, because we're all kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to kick your own ass sometimes. Having someone else just looking over your shoulder makes a difference. And I wanted to share, because the nutrition challenge was really interesting for me, because I learned a lot about what I was putting in my body and what I needed to put more of my body in my body, like removing sugars and stuff. But one like thing that my wife and I did years and years ago, which I wanted to share with you guys, was we were feeling really unhealthy. We were literally getting like meat sweats. It was right after my 30th birthday, and we were getting like meat sweats, and like we'd eat like, yeah, we thought we were eating pretty well, but we really weren't. And so we decided to do a 45-day vegan challenge, whole food, plant-based vegan challenge. And it was really hard for the first 2 weeks or something. Our bodies were like adjusting and all kinds of weird stuff was happening. But after 45 days, actually, sorry, it was a 30-day challenge. After 30 days, we were feeling so good in our energy level, especially I used to want to take a nap every afternoon. Like every afternoon, I was like lethargic after lunch. And after doing this, after 30 days, I had such a high level of energy that I never felt that way anymore. And I just felt like my body was clean. I had all these weird injuries, like my knee was always bothering me. And after like some time, that stopped bothering. It was weird. I think that your body just can process vegetables more easily than meats and fats and stuff like that. So it freed up my body's energy to like heal itself. And so we went to 45 days, and then we ended up going for like 3 years with pretty much a whole food plant-based diet, which is now probably like 90% of our diet. So if you guys are looking to like really like press the reset button and start and see what your body operates, you know, and doing a challenge like that can really make a big difference. I mean, it really changed our lives in a significant way. So anyway, that's my pitch on a vegan challenge for like 30 to 45 days.
Hey, Charlie, do you have any recommend, like for somebody who knows nothing about vegan, but is interested in plant-based, like where do I start?
Yeah. What we used was something called forks over knives. There's this guy who's a doctor and dietitian and all this kind of stuff. He's kind of a leading guy on whole food plant-based diets. And he's got a book about it, and it includes a cookbook, which was really helpful because it's hard to start cooking food that tastes good when you don't know how to use these different types of products. Now my wife and I have all kinds of understanding of how to use that stuff, and we make delicious food. And when our friends come over to eat, they don't even know that it doesn't have anything except plants in it. It's kind of crazy. We kind of play like a game sometimes. We're like, we'll see if they know. They usually don't. But yeah, forks over knives. I'll add that to the Slack thing with the book.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, totally. There's a ton of resources out there. That's just one. But also Michael Pollan. If you guys haven't read anything by Michael Pollan, there's a book called The Omnivore's Dilemma, and another one, The Omnivore's Dilemma. The whole thing is eat food, mostly plants, not too much. That's his whole like philosophy. And that's a great book that breaks it down. And he's not as strict as just vegan. He's just strict as whole foods, you know, not processed foods. But anyway, that's a good one too. Michael Pollan's Omnivore's Dilemma. Luke might have some ideas about that kind of stuff too. But anyway, that was my little tip on age defying health. Anybody else have anything that like has really been transformative for them?
I'm always happy to plug the workout program that my wife and I do. It's called Camp Gladiator. It's group based. So we always struggled staying consistent going to the gym. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was always, I got to come up with another workout. Like, what am I going to do this time? You know, and figuring out the breakdown of what to work on was always a struggle for me. So, I mean, it's a little bit of rah like stuff that I don't love personally, but the actual workouts are really, really good, and they're really flexible. They handled COVID really well because it's in person. Outside is generally the angle of it, and they handled COVID really well with virtual options too. So it's even better now, where basically every 15 minutes during the day, there's a trainer doing a workout live that you can kind of get that. We have a really solid group locally that shows up almost every time. Pretty much daily. So it's a really good community-based group that I've gotten a lot out of. If anybody wants more info.
What's it called again?
Camp Gladiator.
Camp Gladiator. Okay.
Yeah. So they have locations all over the metro. A solid team of trainers who are mostly pros running these workouts. So I enjoy it a lot.
Nice. All right, I got that note down. Cool. Any other like little nuggets of wisdom, guys, that you've stumbled across that's made a big difference? Anybody on these like cold showers or miracle morning, like early morning wake ups, anything like that really increased your energy and your kind of level of youthfulness in your life, whether it's body or mind?
I mean, I'll speak to the cold showers. I've been taking cold showers for like a year now, maybe a little bit longer than that. Yeah. Oh, wow. And it's evolved a little bit. It was all cold showers. The winters are not that fun to take a cold shower. So oftentimes use that hot shower and then move it over to the full cold, as cold as you can take it for, you know, what I've been doing is about 30 deep breaths. But this really came about from some other friends of mine that were really into this, and they were just really into age defying health and just complete longevity. And that's why I picked up. Does it change my day-to-day life? Am I not colder skiing? I don't think that's a real thing, or I don't know if I can really tell, but you know, I do it, and sometimes it's a challenge, but I'm still moving forward, and hopefully it's got better results here at the end. Who knows?
Nice, man. Nice. All right.
I'm gonna volunteer Brandon Gill, because I've seen that dude wade in ice cold water in Grand Lake for literally 10 minutes, and he does Leadville 100s. So Brandon, when did you start getting really mentally tough And how do you cope with that and not hit the off button and just deal with it?
Brandon's not at his chair.
That motherfucker. That's how he copes with it. He gets the hell out.
That's hilarious.
You just got to breathe through it. You know, I like to sit in a mountain stream and whatnot. You just got to breathe and get, you know, and take your mind somewhere else. Brandon.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Brandon?
Did not.
Okay. I was giving you kudos. I said, you're a tough mofo, and I've seen you wade in ice cold water for 10 minutes straight. You've done the Leadville marathon. How do you get to that toughness, mental state flow, I guess you could say, and stay in it? Like, when did you start getting really good at that?
Thank you for that, brother. Yeah. You know, that's a really good question, actually. I would say that's something that is really just like an instinctual thing in all of us. It gets developed over time. But for me, I didn't start developing that until my 20s. You know, and a lot of that with the running, you know, I mean, more of that failing forward concept when you're working out and your body just shuts down and it's like, okay, stop. And, you know, once you feel that, it gets to be kind of overwhelming, and then you can just, I hate the physical aspect of running. I like the mental aspect of it. And it is because that monkey in the brain, you can just shut it down and shut it down and shut it down. And it's just it's just repetition and shutting that monkey in your brain off. So, you know, you do it and you do things that suck until they become enjoyable, until you really embrace things that are difficult. And so, you know, it's kind of like you just start to look for things that are excruciatingly difficult or hard, just so you can feel that vibe, so you can feel that pressure, you know, and build off of that momentum. And I think that's something, honestly, that came with age. You know, it wasn't in me when I was younger. I was lazy and just took the easy road on a lot of things. And in my older age, you know, I really need to just embrace things that are difficult.
Nice, brother.
That
Thanks
flow
for sharing
state, the fact that what Luke has talked about flow state is huge. Once I discovered what flow state is, and you know, how time can just seem to lapse when you're doing things, I really took that into work. I took it into working out. I try to get into that flow state all the time. I mean, that's a big part of my life, is trying to achieve flow state. Even high level CEOs, they, you know, I don't know if you guys know about like micro dosing, but they have a little bit of mushroom tea, or a little bit of acid tablet or something like that, which 10-15 years ago was like completely taboo in the business world, and now it's being really embraced. And a lot of that is because it triggers that flow state right away. Also, running and working out in the morning triggers that flow state, and you're able to just work at a very optimal level. So yeah, flow state is a big part of that.
Cool. Thanks, man. So looks like Luke's taken off. Hey, thanks, Luke. Appreciate you, man. Looks like he included his email here in the chat, guys. So grab that and send questions to Andy. And his whole thing is flow state. So he'd be a good guy to train with if you want to develop that flow state that Brandon accesses on the daily, it seems like.
So just one thing, Charlie, just while I'm still here before I shoot off, I've been at work since 4:30 this morning. I start early. Just going back to what Brandon just said about some of the microdosing, the biggest thing within flow state and within that separation of the mind and body from day-to-day life is checking the ego. The ego is, we all know what it is. It's our self-identity. It's our self-worth. We all know those guys have that big ego. And I find it a lot with people that are injured. You can meet them on the street and just within 2 minutes, they're like, yeah, I've had this injury, or I had surgery, I've got this ailment. And that's almost their self-identity. And so much of flow and so much of what you guys are trying to produce is to throw a lot of what you know about yourself out the window. checking that ego and being able to separate that headspace and that personal identity away from what you expect and what you think you're able to do is huge. And the microdosing thing is massive within mushrooms, acid, ketamine, all aspects, but there are all other natural variations as well. Some of you guys that aren't into that, one of the biggest practices that I can recommend is Nidra Yoga. It's all about headspace. It's not a movement practice. You lay down and it's basically a guided meditation. But learning how to separate that ego and let the brain go to where the body wants it to go, or where the body wants the brain to go, vice versa, is huge within that aspect. So that's my final thought. But again,
Awesome.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Thanks, Luke.
See you guys.
Appreciate it. Well, guys, I'm gonna just take a second to just say a big thanks to Andy here, who put a lot of thought into this pillar and a lot of thought into this presentation today, and obviously brought in a pretty amazing expert for us all to learn from. I got tons of notes. There's definitely some things I'm gonna put onto my one sheet for Q2 that I want to explore and help kind of release some of the stuff I don't know. And so Andy, thank you so much, man, for everything you've done. We all really appreciate who you are to this tribe and all the energy you bring, and being a role model in this pillar. So thanks, brother.
Well, yeah, happy to do that. And yeah, the feeling's completely mutual, especially you, Charlie, and Adam leading this. And yeah, Adam, glad you're out getting goods in the woods.
Yeah, man. So that's the, now that we've kind of concluded the crowdsourcing wisdom, I know we could keep talking about that for, hours, but we don't have it right now. But I think there's some different things in here, guys, that we could all like try out and hold each other accountable on. I think accountability was one of the big themes that came out in all this. So I think continuing to hold each other accountable to exercise, and especially in our GoBro pairs, is going to be really important. And then it'd be kind of fun to do a cold shower challenge. I'd love to do something like that, and maybe another nutrition challenge. So let's keep that idea. I'd love to get that going soon, because it's going to start getting warmer out and won't be so freaking like terrible sounding. But I'm Norwegian, so I love cold water. So anyway,
I'm gonna throw this out there, just throw myself under the bus, but I just finished Game Changers, and aside from losing weight and getting to the weight I want to, I've got a ton of notes. So if anybody wants to run down those notes and start playing with things like cold showers, microdosing, we could do different little monthly body things and see what works. So if any of you guys want to go on that journey with me, let's do it.
Totally, man. It'd be fun to get, like, now that the nutrition challenge is over, it'd be fun to have like someone carry the torch for Age Defying Health and do like monthly challenges. I bet we get a lot of guys who'd be interested in that. Definitely I would. So, maybe we pick one thing per month and sort of just play with them, like whether it's a vegan challenge or a meditation thing or a cold shower thing. That would be an awesome thing to just have rolling along.
Yeah, that would be really good. And Charlie, one of my GoPods, the guys in my GoPods got me into this push-up challenge that I did for the last month, and it was on an app called Spar.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's really cool. It's basically just an accountability app. So if we have a challenge, we can download the app, and then you have to pay for every day that you don't do the challenge. It's like a $30 penalty if you don't do it. So like if you miss it, and you have to video yourself every day outside of that challenge for like 15 seconds just to like confirm you did it. And if not, then your bank account gets dinged for $30 or $50 or whatever you guys decide. But it's really, really cool. Cool app.
Okay.
And guys from Abundance put me onto it, and it's great. We should do it.
Well, maybe you and Andy could get your heads together and think of some different challenges we do. Sounds like you got some experience with it.
Yeah, that way we can video ourselves dosing. Perfect. So everybody can see it.
Yeah, dude, with some microdosing too. All right, guys. Well, Andy, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. All the energy you brought into this. I'm going to take the reins back, and we're going to do some finish off strong with a few announcements. Do I have everybody's still lucid and here? Because we got a couple of big things to announce. I know this has been it's been a little bit of a long meeting, but appreciate everybody's patience with everything and being good listeners. So just first off, I just want to talk about upcoming stuff that's going on. We got a few brothers on this call that are going to be announcing a few events and next club meetings and first club meetings. So, but before we get to that, obviously we're at the end of this quarter, guys, just about done with Q1, which is exciting because we had new structures in place for this quarter. So, you know, feedback is what I'm really seeking at some point in the next couple of weeks to Adam and I for how we can, you know, continue to improve, or if things are going well, then let us know that too. But a big thing is getting our one sheets together going into Q2. So if you haven't already begun doing that, start working with your GoPod, start working with your accountability brother, get your one sheets, you know, into a good spot so that you start Q2 powerfully. This is right now the time to do that. So please begin work on that if you haven't already. The other thing structure wise is our accountability brother structure. I hope that's been good. I've heard kind of anecdotal feedback from a few of you that you've really found that valuable and enjoyable. I definitely have. I've been paired off with Andrew Carpenter, and we've been, you know, holding each other accountable. It's been good. I got getting stuff done. So hopefully you guys have been having that same experience. And if you have, then let everybody know about it. If you haven't, let's talk about how we can make it better. And if you haven't had an accountability brother, we need to certainly address that. But the big question is, do we want to stick with our existing accountability brothers, or out of a commitment to getting to know each other better and also having things shake up a little bit, because that can also create new levels of accountability? Do we want to switch our accountability brothers quarterly? So starting in this next quarter in early April, begin with a new accountability brother that Adam and I will help to assign. Does anybody have any thoughts on that, or do you guys want to do a quick vote on that, or should we do that offline? What do you guys generally think about that topic? There's only like 10 of us right now, but that's enough. That's the majority.
I think we should keep the same ones. That would be my vote.
Yeah, same. I mean, Zach and I are just getting in the flow. Like, we met for lunch for the first time. I mean, that's just my take. Obviously, Zach would have to say too, but we have our structure for Monday conversations. Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? Either agreeing with keeping it for, let's say, another quarter, or anybody that's like, no, I really want to switch up?
I'd say keep it, but it'd be good if everybody submitted on Slack what their structures have been so that we can share ideas on what's working and not working.
Okay. So here's what we could do. I'm going to send a really simple poll with like 2 questions. One is going to be, do you want to keep the structure or not keep the structure? And if there's an even number of guys that wants to switch the structure, we can easily say like, oh, there's 8 guys that want to have new accountability. Then boom, we can just repair those guys amongst that small group. And the guys that aren't interested, they can maintain their current structure. But let's say probably most of us, including most of us, are probably going to just stick with our current structure. We'll just do that for the next quarter. And then maybe look at switching it the following so that we can go deeper with other brothers and switch up accountability a little bit. How's that generally sound for you guys? Okay. All right, cool. And then the other thing is within that poll, I'll ask you to share how you guys are doing it, what your structure looks like if you want to, and then we can send that to the whole tribe and everybody can learn from each other's what's working, what's not working. Sound good? Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
So that'll be coming out really soon. That's a simple poll to put together. The next, thanks guys. The next mastermind is April 15th from 1 to 4 p.m. That's the 3rd Thursday of April, which is what we always do, the 3rd Thursday. We're going to see if we can do it in person. Maybe not, because COVID's still kind of raging, but like we'll kind of play that by ear. The topic or the pillar is authentic relationships with your partner or spouse. John Samuelson is going to be the brother that's going to lead that conversation topic. And I think he's going to potentially bring in a speaker, either someone that one of the elders has used for their own spousal relationships. So he's working on that now. He's not on the call, but otherwise he would have given a little plug to it. We also have the next investment club meeting. Oh, and by the way, for that mastermind, I'm going to be sending out a invitation to that really soon for that April 15th, 1 to 4 p.m. So mark your calendars, but you'll be getting an invite soon. For the investment club, Michael Pulio is going to be announcing the next one, which I think he may have actually sent recently. Did you guys see that come through? Let's see. Anyway, So Michael will be announcing the next meeting. I think it's going to be mid-month as well. So keep an eye out for that. And I know a couple guys had asked about leveraging, money and things like that. That's a good place to really explore those ideas. And we're going to really build on that structure a bit. It's just getting launched. Andrew Carpenter, do you want to talk quickly about the book club?
Yeah, so I got decent response on kind of what folks are looking for from the club and kind of from a scheduling and content perspective. So census seems to be shorter meeting, but more frequent. So kind of a bi-weekly schedule. As far as content goes, it was a little all over the board. So I'm leaning towards starting with The Psychology of Money. It's a really interesting book. It's I haven't read all of it before, but it's structured in a very interesting way. It's a unique narrative, and I think the way that what folks are interested in reading that was near the top of the list. So in terms of scheduling, I'll send out a doodle to get a little bit more precision on this, but I think just an initial quick chat with everybody to dive a little deeper on what they're looking for from the group, and maybe finalize the book. If there's dissent, I'm always happy to hear it. So I'm thinking next week would be a good time to do that. Just keep it quick and short if we can get that scheduled. So I'll send out a little doodle for the guys who responded to the poll who are interested, and can kind of keep those discussions a little bit separate from the full group here.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it, man. That sounds really interesting too. Sounds like a good book, a good topic to dive into, especially considering that a lot of the guys' focus this year in our mastermind or in our tribe is on horizontal income and building wealth. That could be really relevant. So thanks for setting that up so far. And we'll look for a doodle from you really soon on that to find a good time. Also, Mike Del Sesto's not on right now, but he is on. Mike, did you want to share anything? Are you?
Hey, Charlie.
Hey.
Oh yeah, Charlie and I were talking about getting a poker game together. So I'm gonna host the first one. If there's any interest, I'll send out a doodle and we can pick a time. And I'm thinking we'll just alternate who hosts, and yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, we had a good poker round up in the West Cliff cabin a month ago or whatever, and that was all we're all kind of man, we don't do this enough. It's fun just to get together and just hang out and play with some cards and some chips, and not big money, but like $20, $40, something like that, and it just makes it interesting. So thanks Del Sesto, and we'll look for something on that from you pretty soon.
Yep, sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, so I mean, that's basically it. Does anybody have any questions on any of this stuff? I know it's a lot, but questions, comments, thoughts? Anything? Okay. How about thoughts on getting together in person? How are people feeling on that? Like if we did something outdoors starting in April or maybe May?
I'm good to get together.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of it. Yeah.
Are we starting to go that direction where people are starting to feel more comfortable?
I'd be okay with it if it was, outside.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could at least do like a hike or something. And then, if there's still even if there's 25% of the guys who are uncomfortable, like we could do, go virtual. So we start off with like something in person, go for a hike, go for a ski, something like that. And then, and either go and then leave and go virtual, or we could have the guys that want to get together and are comfortable with it, they can get together and we can virtual in, the guys that aren't, we can figure it out. So I think it's time to start having that conversation. So maybe April, maybe this next mastermind, or certainly the following, we can play around with, partial in-person elements. So if that sounds good, we'll start playing with it, and I'll talk to Adam a little more about how that's going to happen. Cool. All right, guys, I guess the last thing we do, our last ritual, is just the highlight reel and gratitude exercise. So what was a highlight for anybody? Anybody want to share a highlight from today, or something that you're grateful for, or someone you want to share your gratitude with?
I would like to go. You know, I wish I would have spoken a little bit earlier, but it seemed like, you know, we were kind of going to the next topic. But I'm just really grateful and thankful to see Andy and his progress, you know, and just, I knew Andy very vaguely in 2008 when he came in. We were at the same real estate brokerage, and just seeing his progress from, but I mean, we started getting close, like, I don't know, 7 years ago or so. And then over the years, we've gotten really tight, and it's just been amazing to see his growth and his, you know, his trajectory and where he's going. And just like, just to see him, I'm just so proud of him and just really look up to him. Super, super excited for this guy, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks for
brother.
sharing that, Brandon. Anybody else have anything they want to share? A highlight reel, something from a highlight from today that really stuck with you, or an idea that came out of this where you're like, man, this is gonna be something I want to try. Anything that inspired you?
I'll go. It's Travis. I think, you know, just like the vast knowledge that Luke dropped on us. It was awesome. I mean, it was a lot to process, but what I really got is just like how rigorous he is with his craft. And, you know, next time I have an injury or just want to like tap into that knowledge base, I want to call him. So thanks for making that happen, Andy. So there's a new connection for, you know, when that happens and with my training or whatever.
Yeah, Travis, I think it'd be a good idea too. We could get him for a session too for one of our outdoor events and do a little exercise beating before a meeting.
Yeah,
totally.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, totally. And just piggybacking off that, Travis, like I really took away, you know, those 4 or 5 like kind of key points that he gave us, you know, and I'm going to look into each one of those, like the bands, the vitamin D, the cold showers, heart health, just keeping my exercise up as my heart stops pumping as much blood. Like that's all. That gave me some like really key tangible takeaways that I'll share all the notes with you guys. You probably have them anyway, but I'll share them anyways. And that was really a highlight for me. It was just having that to like chew on and think about, because I really need to like think more creatively about my own health and age defying health. So that was cool. I'm grateful for also grateful for Chuck joining us and joining the tribe and being engaged this whole time, and just having, you know, some fresh perspective. We've got, you know, I'm looking across this group of only 10 of us here, and we've got like 3 guys I'm looking at that, you know, are new to this group, like between Brian and Mike and Chuck. And it's just awesome to have your guys's, you know, participation and engagement, you know, just early on in this. So thank you. I'm grateful for you guys being here, and also the guys that have been here for a long time, you know, Andy and Brandon and Travis, of course, and Ian, Mark Jeffries, all just good seeing like the old and the new here, you know, and we're all just kind of working together. It's awesome.
Yeah, another quick thanks to Charlie and Adam that just kept touching base with me and prodding me. Hey, you getting it together? You good? You preparing? Here's a template. Let me hold your hand. It made it so much easier and less daunting. So appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks.
One thing.
And I won't mention who if they want some anonymity, but when I sent that message out a few weeks ago saying, hey, I've got a lot of deals in the pipeline that might pop. So anyone have some money? Somebody stepped up and said, I've got a $250,000 check if you need it, and I don't need anything in return. I was just so blown away at the level of trust, and that was just fucking amazing. Like, can you imagine that 10 years ago, being in a group where you say, I'm short, and like, that's the response?
Wow.
This brings tears to my eyes that it was like that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Crazy.
That is
Thanks
amazing.
for sharing that.
That is
Yeah, man.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it just dawned on me that we skipped right over in the wins and challenges exercise. We forgot to say the some of the tribal wins from the last month. I don't know how I missed that. I'm still getting used to the structure that we put together, but you know, I think like I'll just maybe wrap it up with some of this stuff. But like we had some amazing wins in this last month, tribal wins. And I think big one was mentioned a couple times, but that ski day fun day at Vail with the Minturn Mile, that was a really awesome experience that I had been wanting to do for like 13 years of my life. And nobody ever said yes. All my buddies that I mentioned it to were like, I don't know, maybe another time I'm going to go smoke a bowl, or, that seems kind of dangerous, or, I don't really know how to get down there. And like, I randomly threw the idea out to Adam and Mike Del Sesta when we were skiing at Vail like 3 weeks ago. And both of them were like, let's freaking make it happen. Yes, let's do this. And it was like the encouragement I needed to like get together and get my shit together and plan out the route. And, it was just awesome to be part of a group that just says yes, to stuff like that, like checking off bucket list challenges and just saying yes, So.
Charlie, I just want to point out though and acknowledge that I've had that conversation about Minturn Mile with a lot of friends, and we've all talked about it, but you're the one that actually made it happen. So I appreciate that about you. A lot of people talk about ideas, you make shit happen. So thanks for that.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the acknowledgement, man. But, Adam brought up the ski day fun day, and that was a blast. I hope we do more of that stuff. Like, we launched the investment club this last month. That's huge, guys. That's such an awesome little resource that we're all going to have access to. I'm already thinking of fun things we can do with that. Michael Pulio and Pascal are running that. So the 2-day fast, like there's just all kinds of cool stuff that's starting to kind of happen and coalesce around the tribe, which I'm excited. It seems like we're just getting started, and there's already some really great things coming. So appreciate all you guys. Appreciate what you are.
Before we go, sorry, Mike Hartwell started earlier and then I jumped in and interrupted. And on a side note, Mike, once my back gets better, I'll go spar with you if you want. I used to do some of that training. That stuff's fun and gets the aggro out of your system.
Well, I was just going to say that for us newbies, I think, the Zoom is better than nothing, but definitely want to meet in person. I've been through the COVID thing. I had it big time back in November, and it's a real thing. And I respect people that are not comfortable with it or have someone in their family that's at risk or something. But if we can make it happen for the next meeting, I think that'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. If we have to wait one more month, then that's what we'll do. But my input would be to get together.
Awesome. Yeah, I think if nothing else, let's get some part of it together. Let's get some together component, whether it's the whole damn thing or part of it. Let's make it happen. I'm with you. I think it's time that we start, safely reintroducing ourselves to each other like human beings. It'd be really good. I think it'd be really healthy too. For Age Defying Health, a big part of it's being in communication with a community of people that you know, trust, and can be vulnerable around. So let's start making it happen. Cool. Anything else anybody wants to share? We're right at 5, so it's time to break it off. But any last thoughts or anything you want to share?
Thanks, guys. Got to roll. Appreciate you, Charlie. Thanks for organizing. Great to see everybody.
Yeah. All right, Travis. See you, man. Get after it. Yeah, guys. I guess we'll just call it off. We'll just call it then. Thank you, everybody. It's been an awesome mastermind as usual. Andy, thank you again for bringing all that you did to this, and everybody that was engaged and part of this. Thank you for the last 3 hours of your attention and time. And more to come real soon. Just keep an eye on the Slack channel and get active there, and you'll get all kinds of good stuff. So see you guys. Have a good weekend. Talk soon.
Thanks, fellas.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.